just got a DM from the person behind the Discord hack, the one that stole a bunch of government IDs from minors. And the hacker wanted to tell me how they did it to expose Discord's security problems, but they also wanted to tell me what will happen to people's data if Discord doesn't pay. But I don't think the hacker knows that they are about to make the Discord predator problem significantly worse. They are going to be a Discord predator's hero. But before we even get into that, how do I know that this is the person behind the hack? And the easiest thing to ask is, if you hacked into Discord support system, show me what's inside of one of my tickets. And I didn't even have to ask, they just started sending me a whole bunch of stuff, and they sent me this ticket here, new Discord scraping service spy.pet. Now, this is a ticket that I actually intentionally hid in my first video because a viewer made this underneath my account. You can see no text-to-speech was not signed in when this comment was submitted, but they showed me this ticket. And we have internal messages from Discord. And if we zoom out a little bit, the most important part about this hack is this section on the right here. It's called the Discord Zen bar. In the Zen bar, there's stuff like my user information, my location, my email. We can see that there is a phone symbol. Discord never said anything about a phone number, but we'll get to that. But so far, the claimed hacker behind this had my attention. Then they sent me this screenshot, which is contained in the Discord Zen bar, saying user payment history, where you can see I bought the Skibbity Toilet profile cosmetic on July 2nd. And if I go to my Discord billing tab, you can see Skibbity Toilet on July 2nd. In fact, the hacker even sent me this photo here, and it shows the history of emails sent to my email. And you can see on August 18th, I got 2 report violation emails, one at 10:16 and one at 10:12. And if I go to my emails, I got 2 emails from Discord talking about reporting someone on August 18th at 10:12 a.m. and 10:16 a.m. This is unrefutably the person behind the Discord hack that everyone is panicking about. And the thing is that they were willing to answer some of my questions, but first they wanted to set the record straight. They wanted to give me more details about the hack that Discord wouldn't tell people. The first thing I wanted to say is that this was by no means a small incident. They have over 1.6 terabytes of data exported. Most of it is ticket attachments, and a few hundred gigabytes of it is transcripts and other user data. In fact, they sent me this image showing the folder that contains all the files, but it contains 2,185,151 files. And if I scroll up a little bit, inside of this folder, we can see that not every single one of these are people in their government ID or a photo of their face. In fact, we only have this woman here, this guy with a piece of paper, this dude with a passport, government ID here, and government ID here. Those are the only photos in this brief little sample that we have that are government IDs. And in an article by The Verge talking about the hack, Discord told them that approximately 70,000 users had their government IDs exposed. Now, the hacker claims that Discord completely lied in their press release, saying that a small number of government IDs is complete bullshit. And I hate to tell you, but 70,000 people divided by the 200 million monthly active users that Discord has, multiply that by 100% so we get into percentage, it is 0.035% of Discord users. Like, Discord isn't lying. By sheer numbers alone, they can say this is a small incident. But I don't want to downplay that any government IDs being leaked is a big up. Regardless though, things do get worse for Discord. With that Zen bar, it allowed the hacker to get billing and user information for any tickets, even if the ticket content didn't include it. So if your ticket was leaked, there's a good chance that even if it wasn't about billing, your billing information got leaked. And it was around 578,000 users that had their billing info leaked, which, fun fact for your nerds, apparently is about $365 million worth of payments. But that billing information, if you're not aware, contains your PayPal email if you use PayPal, or if you used a credit card, it would give your credit card provider, the last 4 digits of your credit card, and it would also give your credit card expiration month and year, which Discord did not tell people. But one thing Discord was either not aware of or just didn't talk about is the fact that phone numbers were involved in this breach. If you looked at someone's phone number in that Zen bar, the information was redacted. The agents would only see your partial phone number, so like the last 4 digits. The problem though is that if you just looked at the API, it will show the full phone number. And they said that over their access of 58 hours on Discord's system, which again is egregious, they estimated that around 50,000 people had their phone number leaked. But also, like Discord said, a lot of their internal documents were leaked, and the hacker sent me a massive list of what they have. But the hacker also showed me that in Discord's own internal documents, they have a section called accounts we should not interact with. They have stuff like Streamlabs, USA Army Esports, and even myself, next to Dr. Disrespect. Why the am I on this list, bro? But the hacker also wanted to share with me how bad of a up this is from Discord, how they even got into the system in the first place. So they pointed out that in Discord's own press release, they said that this was a result of a third-party breach. And they claim that this is directly Discord's fault for hiring work-from-home BPO employees. Now, BPO stands for Business Process Outsourcing. I had to Google that. But Discord outsources their support to a third-party company. And what happened is that the hacker got into one of those employees' accounts. Now, they did not want to share with me at all. I tried multiple times to figure out how they got into the account. So we have to speculate. It could be bribery. It could be sending the employee malware or some insider crazy movie drama. The hacker themselves applied for a job. But the biggest problem about this hack that I really want to emphasize is that once the hacker was in Discord Zendesk, there wasn't anything stopping them. For 58 hours, the hacker sent 60 million requests to Discord with zero detection. So they were just able to constantly ask for people's billing information, constantly ask for attachments. There was no rate limiting to prevent scraping. And the hacker also says that Discord could have configured their Zendesk more securely. And this is Discord's biggest up regarding this whole entire hack. It's the fact that they're not handling things and assuming that an employee will be hacked. And the reason why this is such a big up is that this has happened before. The warning signs are there. Discord back in 2023 had one of their support agents hacked. But also, this is actual breaking news. I haven't told anyone this, and I don't think it's ever been published. But a year ago, at the end of August 2024, someone managed to compromise a Discord employee account. And what ended up happening is a whole bunch of Discord e-gangsters, you can tell by their chats that they are trying to be edgy teenagers. They managed to get into a Discord employee's account, whether by bribing them, hacking into their account, whatever, but they managed to give themselves rare usernames with 2 letters and Discord staff badges. And the reason why I didn't talk about this is because I didn't want a situation like this Discord hack happening, or at least it being inspired by it. But somehow, despite both of these hacks, Discord didn't secure their Zendesk under the assumption that an employee would be compromised. And when we're talking about people's government IDs in Zendesk, this is completely unacceptable. And the problem with these government IDs is that the government ID tickets are not purged after resolution. The hacker claims that government ID images were just sitting there for months or even years. Now, I have talked to some people familiar with Discord's age verification system, and they said that after some period of time, Discord will delete these tickets, but they should be deleting those government IDs the second they're done with the ticket. Like, this is genuinely a failure on Discord's part. It's unacceptable. But the hacker then starts saying stuff like, a lot of the government IDs are of minors too, since the age requirement of Discord is 13 plus. Child safety is a concern, and Discord doesn't seem to care. Now, hold on for a second. I said in the intro of this video that this dude was gonna be the hero of Discord predators, the person that brings the new age of predators on Discord, the Messiah. And the reason why I'm saying all of this is because, keep in mind, Discord in their press release said that the hacker was trying to extort a financial ransom. They were trying to get money from Discord, and I asked the hacker, how much money were you trying to get? And they were trying to get $5 million, but Discord said it was too high, and out of the goodness of the hacker's heart, they reduced it to $3.5 million. And then they got ghosted. And throughout this video, I've been showing you screenshots that the hacker has sent me. So while they were hacking Discord, they intentionally went on my profile and took a whole bunch of screenshots for me to make a video. And I even asked him straight up, I'm like, I assume your goal in reaching out to me and providing this information is to articulate your threats, to have a video made to add pressure to Discord, to force them to pay you money. And the hacker said, yeah, that's accurate. So from here on out, you need to understand that the hacker is assuming that all of their messages are going to be in this video. They are going to say whatever they need to say to make you angry and upset at Discord and to paint Discord as a villain. And I'm going to show you how they do that. If Discord continues to ignore me, I will start releasing user data. And this includes hundreds of thousands of minors in all caps who uploaded their government ID. If Discord privately reaches an agreement with me, I will cease all activity related to this incident and delete the data. Discord still has a chance to save their users, but it won't be around for much longer. Money is the only goal here. In fact, they say if Discord doesn't respond in like a week, I will either leak the full data or sell it. It's not up to me what happens. And it's worth noting that Discord can fully prevent all of this. They are trying to make Discord look like the people that make the decision. Discord, if they don't pay this guy money, they're gonna be the evil people that get a bunch of minors' government IDs leaked. That's what the hacker is trying to tell you. But here's what you guys need to know. Discord predators.
Sora 2 video generation is not available in our region.
It is if you're on Artlist.
Huh?
What? Sora 2 is now on Artlist.
The most advanced AI video model is now available in every region. No invite code needed.
Get incredible realism with fully integrated sound.
You keep the frame, I keep the story.
Build your own world with multi-shot stories and character consistency for any genre, all based on your prompt.
By the prompt, we rise!
So go to Artlist and start creating without limits.
They heard about this hack and they're foaming at the mouth. Sending someone a photo of their face and their government ID that might have their address, you can use that to extort people. Hey, 16-year-old Timmy, I know where you live. I know what you look like. And I'm gonna send people to your house if you don't do X, Y, and Z. It sounds like a joke, but that genuinely happens though, because kids are stupid. And the problem is that if you leak all this information, Discord predators basically just have a whole bunch of ammunition to find kids. And it's already happening because the hacker made a telegram to leak all this information to pressure Discord, and they got a DM from a predator saying, yo, you can make more money selling the IDs. The little ones are worth more. And they're trying to frame this as Discord's fault. Discord did up, but we have this hacker with all of these kids' information and they're threatening to leak it all. Here is the real truth. Discord's corporate policy, from what I've heard through the grapevine, they don't pay ransoms for multiple reasons. One, Discord already took the L by publishing they got a data breach. Second, if you pay the ransom, there's nothing saying that the person won't just leak the information or sell it anyways. The hacker just said, yo, trust me, bro, that was actually part of his DMs. And finally, if Discord's gonna pay people $3.5 million, other people are gonna hack into Discord and try to get a ransom as well. It puts a massive target on your back. Telling you straight up, and also probably telling the hacker because they're watching this, Discord isn't gonna pay anyone shit. So what's gonna happen is that this hacker is in their little delusion land where they think Discord's gonna pay money, and they're gonna start leaking more and more data, and eventually all of those kids' government IDs are gonna be out on the internet for Discord predators to scoop up and find their next victims. And I straight up told the hacker that random Discord kids are gonna be targeted by Discord predators, and they're trying to tell me that it's a concern for them too, believe it or not. Then why are you even threatening to leak the data in the first place? And there's two massive problems with this already, because the hacker has released a data sample, and if you look through the data sample, there are people with emails that have like their first name, last name 2010. They're probably born in 2010. They are 15 years old. And the thing with kids on Discord is that you can tell them their email, and you can lie to them saying, I hacked into your Discord account. I have your email. Send me X, Y, and Z. Predators do that. So you've already leaked kids' information. You can't blame Discord for this because you are the person in control of the data. I straight up told the hacker, like, yesterday I was just like, dude, you don't understand what's going on. Discord isn't gonna budge. They're not gonna be the ones to fix this. They're not the heroes. You're gonna become the bad guy, and you're gonna be the dude who fed information to make predators' jobs easier. And they tell me that I'll refrain from leaking and selling the data as I don't want to harm kids. And here's the problem. If they go through all of the data to filter out the kids, so they're only leaking adults' government IDs, here's the reality. People will report CSAM Discord servers to Discord through those tickets, and they will send photos of CSAM because they don't know better. So this hacker already on their computer has CSAM content. So when they go through and filter all that data, they're gonna have to filter through CSAM content intentionally so that they can leak data. What the fuck is going through your brain? Genuinely. But the one thing that the hacker and I can agree on is that Discord needs to be held accountable for this stuff. So really the point of this video is to show you how bad of a mistake Discord made, and Discord does need to do better because this is the third time they have been hacked. But the point of this video is also to hold the hacker accountable, because at the end of the day, I don't think minors on Discord should be caught in the crossfire so this hacker gets money and then Discord gets held accountable. It's completely ass backwards. So yeah, anyways, gamers, that don't you just love the internet? Let's just go to the extreme. You should just go outside and talk to people and never go on social media. Anyways, that's all I got. Bye-bye. I love you.
Hey, video creators. Stuck with the static logo? Time to elevate your brand with the touch of motion. Just Google Video Bolt and watch your logo come to life. Dive into a universe packed with thousands of logo animation templates, perfect for your intros and outros. Design and export online. Seamlessly integrate into your editing software. Intrigued? Take the leap and visit videobolt.net.
Good night. Sleep tight.
Jeffrey's toy guide is bursting with fun and all the toys and gifts you'll love.
Hey, what's going on in there? It's bedtime.
Unwrap the biggest deals of the season for kids big and small with Toys R Us, where magic comes to life.
I'm going to be ruining a Roblox scam. I'm going to explain what these scammers are doing, expose their strategy, and finally, I'm going to completely annihilate their scam by spamming the crap out of them and then also deleting their system entirely. Now, to start, it's like almost every single Discord scam on the planet. Some random person contacts you, and this person says, "Hello, I am contacting you about your ban at Fashion Famous." Now, Fashion Famous is, yes, a very hit Roblox game. It is almost as captivating as Roblox Paintball, and I spend many hours on it. But anyways, I've been removed from this community for scamming or account theft. Now, here's the thing. I never play Fashion Famous on this Discord account. In fact, I hide it in a little secret account in shame. So, there'd be no possible way that I would actually scam someone, and this doesn't make any sense to me. So I tell good old Ben here that I'm not the scammer. This is complete horse crap. But Ben is not backing down. Really? Well, we're gonna have to post an announcement about you scamming people, and you're gonna get banned from every single server you're in. And my heart dropped. I do not want this. I want to make sure that I can appeal this, and of course Ben is very kind and provides an invite link that I can use. But I'm no idiot, and I said, how can I trust that you guys are the true Fashion Famous? Could I see some proof with this? And Ben sends me a Roblox group link to Fashion Famous. Now I open up this link and my heart drops a little bit. I notice that this is the real Fashion Famous group. They have 1 million members. I go down to experiences, and that is the Fashion Famous that I spend many of my hours on. But if I go back to the group, they have a Discord server. If I right click and just copy the link of this Discord server and I paste it into a random server, you'll notice this is the same Fashion Famous server. I am in a lot of trouble. However, my brain activates again and I realize that maybe I should take another look at this Fashion Famous group and just go to the Fashion Famous game. Maybe they have a Discord server link that I can look at. So I scroll down and I notice they have join our channels, and this is a Discord invite link. So I copy the link address and I put it back into Discord, and there's 2 different servers. Now, to explain what's going on, a lot of people think that this Roblox group, the original one that I've joined from the scammers, has been hacked. But what has really happened is that someone stole their invite link. Now, to show you how this works, I'm going to go to my Discord server, and as you can tell, this invite link is in the description of every single one of my videos. So I'm going to copy this invite code, and if I paste this invite link into this little tool, you can see that there is the no text-to-speech Discord server, and the main important thing is that there's this invite creator. Now, if I put in a vanity link, so my Discord server's vanity link is just NTTS, you'll notice that it doesn't tell me who is the person that made the invite. So, using this, we can figure out which one of these servers is the real server and which one might have a vanity link. So I'm going to copy the smaller Fashion Famous server and I paste it into the little tool, and it shows that this was an invite created by someone. And if I copy the link of the scam server, you might already know what's about to happen. I paste in the link and you notice that there is no person that created the invite. In fact, this is a vanity link. Now, what has happened is that on this Roblox group, there is that normal Discord invite link. However, someone made a mistake because this invite link wasn't permanent. When you create a normal Discord invite, you actually have a couple options. You can select between 30 minutes up to 7 days for your invite, or unlimited. And if you don't have it as unlimited, these invite links will expire. But despite the link being invalid, it is still available on the group page. And these many scammers saw that and made their Discord vanity link the same as this invite link. Now, of course, doing something like this gives them a lot of credibility because it is the official group and it shows their scam Discord server. But the thing is that not a lot of people noticed that, so the scam continues on. I ask, could I see some proof of me scamming someone? And they show me this screenshot. Of course, Ben is extremely helpful in this case, and you can see this Discord screenshot. Basically, I message someone and ask them to moderate for my group, and I send them a robloxzox.com/groups link. Obviously, this is a fake Roblox link, and it seems like they get hacked, and I say, LOL, effing idiot, thanks for the account, and apparently, I dropped the N-word for some reason, and this is completely absurd. These aren't my messages. I didn't scam this person. In fact, I don't even know this person, so I tried pleading my case. Might just be someone trying to frame me or impersonate me, and Ben always trying to reassure me here by saying, probably. I mean, we've had many people trying to frame famous developers, and this strokes my ego a little bit. Of course, I'm a famous developer, and Ben tells me that I should still file an appeal so that I can clear my name and make sure it isn't me, and of course, I decide to continue on with the appeal. So,
we have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is Base 44. This is a first look at the current industry-leading AI app builder, and you wouldn't believe the kind of apps that people are creating. Smart nutrition apps, inventory trackers, onboarding tools, you name it. And if the only thing stopping me from making the app is the idea, then why not build an app that gives me endless app ideas? So let's make it. Pro tip, I draft the full app spec in ChatGPT, and then I drop the prompts directly into Base 44. It gives me super detailed structure. And here it is. Everything I laid out in detail as it goes. This is pretty awesome, but I want to make it playful. So I'm going to add a swipe left and swipe right interface. The same usability we all know. Now I'm going to add one more feature. So every idea that I favorite will turn into a kickoff prompt to start building the app itself. And that's it. Just come up with your idea, any idea, and Base 44 will do the rest. So go to Base 44 and create apps with your name on it.
With Exit Lag, you eliminate lag and play with the best performance. Enjoy a stable connection in every match and claim your victories without interruptions. Try Exit Lag and take your Call of Duty gameplay to the next level. Subscribe now and play Call of Duty like never before.
I get invited to a support group chat. Now, I should make it clear this is someone else that's actually scam baiting these guys. I'm just keeping their name anonymous and saying it's me just for the comedic factor, okay? So I join the support channel and I'm pleading my innocence. I mean, I'm giving them pages upon pages of proof that this isn't me. I mean, how can I prove myself? And I have this new character named Valky who says, do you mind screen sharing the DMs with this user? So, of course, I open up my little Discord, I go to my direct messages, but as you can tell, in my DMs, there's absolutely nothing. I mean, Discord telling me that I've been breaking the terms of service by being in a bad server, but my innocence should be clear. But that's not enough for good old Ben to prove my innocence. So what they tell me to do is just open up Roblox, and I'm still screen sharing, showing my screen. It's basically like you guys are the scammers right now. You can see their perspective, and as you can tell, I'm in my Roblox account, ASDKOPUODF letters. Ben is saying that this is all good, and they're basically just asking, because once again, it's a group chat, there's multiple people talking, and they're just trying to make sure that I have ownership to the account, and that I just didn't hack this account yesterday or something. They then ask me to turn off my PIN, because I have two-factor authentication enabled. I am a security genius. So they tell me to turn it off, and why would I ever need to turn off two-factor authentication to show you that this is my account? I mean, I open it up, look at it, this is definitely a legitimate account of mine. Now, in terms of the psychology of what's going on, Ben basically tries to reassure me that, well, we know what we're doing, so I should feel more comfortable giving out this information. But this is not enough, and Ben decides to also invest in a different type of psychological terror, which is, I hope you understand that if we have any problems with this ownership verification, I will have to report this to the owner of Fashion Famous, my favorite game near and dear to my heart, who will then report it to other servers about this developer, me, scamming. And this is bad, and all they're trying to do is just raise awareness against scamming, including our server. Now, this raise awareness against scamming is a psychological tool that scammers use often. Basically, if they're against scamming, then they're trustworthy, right? They would never, ever scam you if they're against scamming. And of course, it's pretty obvious that they were completely lying about that. Now, I'm still dragging my feet and telling Ben, I don't want to change my Roblox account stuff. It's just not safe. And Ben decides to go from getting my my trust to putting on the pressure by saying, sorry, but do you want the owner of Fashion Famous in this group chat threatening me? And when that wasn't enough, Ben goes the extra mile by saying, if the person really did get hacked from you, we will have to report it to the owner, and they are actually friends with a Roblox admin, which can instantly terminate that account just so that we can make sure no one else gets scammed or anything. So now they're making these threats of my Roblox account getting terminated real by adding in the actual owner of the game. Now, if I join this server, which I can't on my alt account because I got banned for some reason, whoever would have figured out why, you might notice that there is the Ben character that we've been hearing from very often, and their user ID is right here. Just Discord, keep in mind this is the user ID of the scammer, and this is their account, and we have this pixelated candy person, and here's their user ID. And is this the real pixelated candy account? Well, the person that sent me all this information actually found the real pixelated candy account, and it's this here. Obviously, two completely different accounts. Now, back to the scam support group chat, I basically say, instead of asking me to change the settings of an account with more than 300,000 Robux, which is about $1,000, which is quite a fair chunk of money, instead of asking me to do all that stuff, why can't you guys just listen to my advice? But Ben pulls out another little trick here, saying, you realize a developer with over 30 million Robux, which is about $100,000, has done the same process. We're pretty much used to it. Now, Ben here is once again providing reassurance by saying, we've done this already, you shouldn't be worried, this is completely normal, and when things don't go the scammer's way, they pull out the big guns. They get that pixelated candy account, which is impersonating the developer or the owner, but they're saying that you don't want to confirm the ownership, so if that's the case, I'll need to report this to a Roblox admin and let them know about it. Now, once again, this is just them putting on pressure to try and force me to go through their whole entire scam, and I just gotta say it, those eyes reassure me. Eyes are a window into a person's soul.
New Ferrero Rocher slabs. Indulge in the golden experience.
And this soul is pure and gorgeous. Oh wait, I already have an anime girlfriend. Anyways, I cave in and I open up Roblox and I deactivate my PIN. Now keep in mind, during this whole entire fiasco, they're telling me to screen share my screen. So I'm going through my settings, I'm going into my account and I disable two-factor authentication and all this stuff. Now, of course, this isn't enough information for the scammers to actually take my account. So they need more info. So what they tell me is that they just want me to look at my email account and just check to see if there's any Roblox emails. And they now have access to what your email address is. That whole screen sharing bit was just to get this email address and make sure you're following the scam. Now, what can happen here is that they either ask you to send yourself a Roblox email or they'll do it themselves on their own computer. So on their end, they confirm that they can see this email and they need to make sure that it's the official Roblox email. So what they want me to do is they want me to copy the email and send the link here. So they want me to copy this reset password link and then send it to them. Now, most people at this point would get cold feet, realize this is a scam, and stop. But these scammers know that's a possible way that this scam could end. So what they do is they say, is that link safe? So I get confused with that link. They're asking if the link's safe. I mean, of course it's safe. How can I tell that this is a safe Roblox link? And they tell me to visit trustcentury.org. And this website checks if the site is fraud. So I need to copy the link and put it into the fraud detector. And to be honest, this website looks pretty legitimate. I mean, it looks pretty good, right? There's a lot of stuff that's going on. They have privacy policies, all this stuff. So maybe the link I got from Roblox wasn't safe, so I just need to enter in the URL. Now, before I click scan website, I'm actually going to open up a couple of Chrome tools. In fact, I'm going to open up my network tab, and I'm going to make sure that I am recording, because we need to figure out what this fraud detector is doing. So if I click scan website, it's going to do a couple things. Now, I paused recording, and the website's still going to go through and refresh stuff. It's going to be annoying. I think I actually did put in my real Roblox account, but if I crack this bad boy up a little bit, on the left here, you'll notice that the website refreshed and it says roblox.com, 0 detections, everything is all good. But on the network network side here, if I open this up, you'll notice that we have two events. And this event here, if I open it up, it sends a payload to the request URL of discord.com/API/webhooks. Now, a webhook is basically a link where if you send information to this webhook, it will send a message in a Discord channel. And just to make that really clear, I went on Disco Hook and I can type in whatever the heck I want. All these letters, if I press on send, what it does is it actually sends a message to whatever server I have it pointed to. And it has to be my own server, obviously, security reasons. But what's happening on this website is that they are sending in a payload to this webhook. And the payload, if I open up the embed and open it all the way, it is sending in your Roblox reset password link. So this is basically like this webhook sending in your password reset link to some random server that these scammers have, where they can then open up this link and they can reset this password. In fact, this one is already expired, probably because my account got hacked or something. I don't know. Now, how does this website look so gosh darn legitimate? Well, if we scroll down and we just look at some of their privacy policy, and we open this bad boy up, you might notice that it says urlvoid.com. And if we open up URL Void, I'll just copy it over this bad boy, we'll notice that this is the actual website that they're trying to impersonate and fish from. So URL Void, you could put in whatever the heck you want. Scan website, all good to gozies. But with these guys, you're going to lose your Roblox account. Now, the funny thing about webhooks is that all you need is the URL to send a message. And of course, I mean, why would you want to look at reset password links when, for example, you could be sent a whole bunch of Fortnite Thanoses saying, pinging at everyone, I just Thanos snapped your webhook. Consider this elbozo, and it has gifs of Fortnite dancing from Thanos. That'd be hilarious if I sent them this. And in fact, I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to Disco Hook. I'm not going to send them my Roblox password. No, I'm going to send them an everyone ping and Thanos dancing, and I click send. My finger slipped and I click send again. My finger slipped one more time. Oh, it slipped. Oh, my finger's clicking. Stop clicking, finger. Stop doing this. This is bad. Stop sending this ping. This is awful. This is extremely bad. Oh, no, heavens. At the end of the day, this is not what you actually want to do. The best thing to do is actually delete their webhook. And if you want to do this yourself, there's a website. It's webhooks.scam.gay. I know, quite the name. But you paste in a webhook and you click delete, and what will happen is that webhook will no longer work. So that means that if someone falls for this scam and sends in the reset password link, it will not be sent to their webhook because their webhook is deleted. It doesn't exist anymore, and it sabotages their system. Now, of course, deleting their webhook just doesn't solve the whole entire issue. So what I decided to do is I just copy their little URL, and then you go to Whois, and you figure out what the domain registrar is, and you just go on their little website, and you report abuse, and within a couple days, this website will be bye-byed. Oh, wonderful. And that's how you fully stop the scam, at least for that website. You get it taken down by the registrar. Anyways, I'm going to go fill out this report abuse form, and we'll see if that website stays up for any longer than it should. Bye-bye. I love you. Mwah.
Oh my god. Uh-oh.
Now, new Colgate Herbal with salt for strong teeth and healthy gums.
This Roblox verification scam is everywhere, and it's infecting Discord. It's like a disease. Discord will terminate the server, and within 30 minutes, they'll make a whole new one. So I'm going to tell you everything about this scam, maybe a little too much to be honest, because it is ridiculously easy to avoid. Now, the way the scam works is that you'll get a DM on Roblox about some offer regarding your Roblox outfit. And by the way, this was DM'd a day ago from the time of recording, so this is a very active scam. But hello, I am contacting you to discuss paying you for permission to use one of your outfits you were wearing in my game. I am the lead developer and co-founder of Vic Games, a game development group on Roblox. You were wearing an outfit on Roblox that really influenced the style I wanted to use for a character dialogue in our game, but we need permission first so we don't get DMCA copyrighted by you for using your outfit. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, if I was this Roblox game developer, I wouldn't even ask for permission. I would just use your outfit and tweak it slightly. Realistically, that's what people would do. But anyways, this guy, he's like a Nigerian prince because he'd love to hear the price he wants for it, as they have a very big budget, and they will pay you any amount that you want.
What you can buy with a
We will pay you up front and go first with the payment. Anyways, if you're interested, please join our server and directly ping us in the development channel regarding our offer. And the reason why they abbreviated it is to bypass any spam filter, but they want you to join the Vic Games Discord server. Now, we could read the rest of this crap, but I want to get my Vic Games $3 gazillion. Now, side note, when I was actually scripting this video, the server got terminated. My heart was broken. I thought this video was going to go away, and then I waited a whopping 30 minutes, and ladies and gentlemen, I can now join the new scam server because it's up and running again. So this is the Vic Games Discord server. Now, a little secret between you and me, I'm running Vencord, which is a client modification that allows me to see every single channel in a Discord server. And as you can see, this Discord server has 4 channels. We have verification, we have some rules, and we have a general channel that has absolutely nothing in it. But we'll get to that a little bit later. But first, to even do anything, I need to verify on the server. And to verify, I need to use this row-linked bot. Now, for some reason, these scammers always like reusing the same scam bot name. So right now it's called row-linked, but after this video comes out, they'll probably change it to row-linker or something slightly different. But it tells you to verify your Roblox account. So you click on the button, and it takes you to a website called rowlinked.co. Now, if you click on visit website, you might get stopped by this video sponsor, Guardio. Now, Guardio is a browser extension that protects you on the internet by stopping you from visiting malicious websites just like this one. And I know you probably think, I don't need this. I got 2-factor authentication. Well, spoiler alert for the video, the scam deals with that and it still takes your account. So it is nice to have another layer of security which protects you from Roblox scams like this, all the way up to nasty websites that try to download malware on your computer. But Guardio does a lot more than just blocking websites, because Guardio will scan the internet to let you know if your personal information has been exposed in a data breach, and will also let you know in real time. And is your browser being bombarded with annoying pop-up notifications or being flooded with ads because your stupid brother went on your computer? Well, Guardio can clean all that out of your browser and prevent it from happening in the future. And since you can share this protection with 4 of your friends or family, you can install Guardio on your brother's laptop, and now he'll leave you alone for once in your life. It's worth every penny. Now, from my experience, Guardio is the first to detect new scam websites, and with Guardio having over 1 million users and being featured by Google, it's honestly a no-brainer to use. So try out Guardio and scan your browser for free at guard.io/NTTS. It takes less than 30 seconds, and if you use my link in the description, you get a 7-day free trial and 20% off your monthly subscription. Guardio, thank you for sponsoring this video. But since I know what I'm doing, I'm going to continue to the website because I need to show you what it does. So this is the row-linked website, Roblox on Discord made easy. Now, it's going to tell you to connect row-linked by telling you to show your bookmarks bar, and you're supposed to drag this little button into your bookmarks. So anyways, now that I have this bookmark at the very top, if I go into Roblox and I click on this bookmark, congratulations, your Roblox account will be stolen. Because here's the thing, this bookmark is actually a whole bunch of code. If I edit it, we open it up, you see this URL, it is longer than the list of reasons why I just want to stop living. It's a very long link. And this isn't some sort of website, you know, you're not bookmarking grandma's cookie recipe. This is actually called a bookmarklet, which is a bookmark that runs code on a website. And as with any time you run code on any website, do not run code on a website if you don't know what it's doing. And well, what is this code doing? Well, you can actually right-click the bookmark, copy link address, and you can paste in all this code, which is too big for Discord, I guess. But if I paste it into Notepad, you can see this code is completely unreadable because it's obfuscated. The scammers behind this scam don't want you looking into the code. But my mama told me if you're nice to some people, they might help you out a little bit. Oh, look at that. We have the code completely unjambled into something that we can understand. Now, looking at code is completely boring. I'd put myself to sleep if we went through and just read this thing. So I'm going to make it work for you visual people. But the way that it starts is that when you click on that bookmark, it is going to go through your Roblox private messages and look to see if you got a DM from Vic Games. Because if you didn't receive the scam DM, then how did you fall for the scam? They're trying to make sure you're not like a nerd like me that's trying to expose the scam. They want to make sure that you're an idiot that fell for this message. And if you did get this Vic Games DM, then what will happen is that this code will automatically make you send a friend request to the scammer, which gives them a heads up, hey, you found a victim that fell for your really obvious scam. And after that friend request, that's when the scamming starts, and that's where things really start to pick up. Because here's the thing, it starts to inject code into the Roblox website. It's a pop-up for the Rowlinker agreement saying Rowlinker can view your Roblox username. Let's play a game. What happens when you click on agree and continue? Well, what it does is it goes into your Roblox account and figures out how much Robux you have on your account. And if you have a little Robux on your account, what it's going to do is it's going to find an item made by the scammer on the marketplace, and it is going to purchase it, which takes your Robux from you and gives it to the scammer, but just to really rub it in and to leave no trace that you got scammed. They're also going to go into your inventory and delete the item, the scam item that you bought. They're trying to cover their traces. So already this malicious bookmark stole your Robux. But then it gets a lot worse. Because here's the thing. This scam also tries to steal your Roblox account under two important conditions. First off, the scammer has a massive list, like a really massive list of Roblox user IDs of people that they want to scam. So these are popular developers, maybe people with a lot of money. If your Roblox account is in this list and you run this bookmark, it is going to try and steal your Roblox account. But that's just one condition. But the second reason why a scammer might want to steal your Roblox account, which this code automatically does, is if you have a lot of important and expensive items on your Roblox account. Because this code will go through your Roblox inventory and it will figure out the recent average price for every single one of your items. And if the value of your account is over 2,000 Robux, it'll proceed with trying to take your account. But if your Roblox account isn't one that they're trying to target, or it's an account that has nothing on the account, this code will automatically just show you an error saying unable to link account. Your account is not qualified to be linked to Rolinker. Alternative accounts are not allowed. So they're trying to make sure if they scam someone, they're actually scamming someone that has something on their account. Now, I really hope you guys are like smart and use two-factor authentication and pins on your Roblox account, but the scam accounts for that. And that's why things are scary, because here's the thing. If you click agree and continue and you have a pin on your Roblox account, it will say account pin locked. Unlock the pin attached to your account to continue, and it'll tell you to open settings. It'll take you to your Roblox parental settings. Now, after unlocking your pin, you still have one safety measure on your account, two-factor authentication. If we go back to the bookmark code, it is adding a whole bunch of HTML to your page to show you this fake pop-up. Now, it did make a request where Roblox will send you an email, or, and this is where things get tricky, you might have two-factor authentication with, Google Authenticator or whatever you use. They also made the bookmark account for that, because if you actually have an authenticator app, it will show you generated by an authenticator app, so you think it's actually real. But once you enter in your two-factor authentication code, your fate is sealed, your Roblox account is gone. Because the second you get scammed, the Roblox scam bookmark does the following things. First off, it's going to set your birthday to February 2nd, 2022. Congratulations, you're 2 years old. But they're setting your Roblox account to be under 13 years old, because what happens is that when your Roblox account is under 13 years old, Roblox has to remove all your previous account emails due to COPPA laws, which makes it extremely hard to recover your account. And once they do that, then they'll go into your account settings and change your email address to theirs. And my urge to put the email address in this video is at a sky high, but we'll avoid that for now. Now, at this point, you're still logged into your Roblox account, and also when you click verify, it'll just give you the same error as before. Your account is not qualified, but in the background, what is going on is that this code is going into your Roblox groups, because as a reminder, they're trying to target developers. That's what that big list of numbers were for. They're going to go into your Roblox groups. They're going to look into the payouts of your Roblox group, and they change it so that you, the hacked account, will receive all the money from the group. Now, that sounds like a good thing, except remember, this isn't your account anymore. They changed the email. And to finish you off, and to really kick you in the face, at the very end, the code will enable email two-step verification, which will automatically sign you out. Everything that just happened, the scammer stealing your Robux, tricking you into unlocking your account PIN, then tricking you into giving a two-step verification code. All of that stuff that I just explained for however many minutes happens within like 30 seconds. And people fall for it because, oh, this pop-up's in the Roblox.com website. Why should I even worry about it? Now, I'll have this tweet linked in the description, but recovering your account is a chore. And from what I've seen in the way things are, it is going to be tough to get your Roblox account back. This will be like weeks of
sell to millions of people online with Shopify's social media and marketplace integration. You can sell your products directly on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, and reach millions more shoppers by connecting your store to Amazon, eBay, and more. No matter where you sell, track and manage everything from a single dashboard. Shopify is the only platform you need to sell everywhere people shop online. Head over to Shopify and start your free trial today.
Big dreams start small. At GoDaddy, we help you take that first step and every step after. From getting your domain to creating your website, email,
pain and torture. So if you want to avoid all that, make sure people know that you should never ever trust bookmarks, because it could be running code that could do a lot stuff that you have no idea about. Now here's the thing, this bookmarklet scam is starting to get a lot worse, because before the Vic game, oh, is it working right now? Oh baby, hallelujah. So you'll notice, the reason why it's getting worse is because the general chat is absolutely bumping with people. I have a million warnings and I'm proud of it. I go to the Souls RNG Discord server, no idea what it's about, I don't play Roblox. This person said I have a million warnings and I'm proud about it. This person said Lathea, which I think is a pretty strange sentence to say. I don't say that on the regular. We go back to the Vic Games chat, we scroll down, and Lathea. I could keep going through examples, but it's pretty clear. What's happening is that there is a bot that these scam owners are running that will just go through the Souls RNG Discord server and just get every single one of their messages of, should I watch Rick and Morty? No. And then they'll send it in the Vic Games Discord server. No, Jared from Target, you should not watch Rick and Morty. By the way, these are all bot accounts. So this is one thing they do to trick you into thinking that this is a real server. Now, after your Roblox account gets hacked and taken away from you, what happens to all your items that the scammer stole? Well, fortunately for me, I didn't have to look very hard, because one of my viewers sent me a screenshot of the Vic game server where this alien head creature guy pinged everyone for some reason, and that was his biggest mistake, because if you click on the profile, their Discord username is Infinite Blocks. But after this dude that runs the scam server takes all your Robux items, well, they gotta sell the Roblox items somewhere, and there are Discord servers up the wazoo, specifically this one here called The Stock, which is a server where people sell their Roblox items, and it seems pretty good. They have a getting flashbacks from that Middleman video, but they also have scam alerts, so they do care about people scamming. They don't want scamming on their Discord server, except when I search for Infinite Blocks, he has a post, but you can see our scammer selling 25,000 Robux worth of items, selling for really cheap rates because he stole them from kids. DM me offers cryptocurrency only. Now the cherry on top of this all is that you can see this guy has a special role. In fact, he's considered the top stalker. He sells a lot on this Discord server. Now, it would be a shame if someone reported his illegal activities to the staff members in the server. Yeah, it turns out every single person in the server is aware that this guy scams kids on Roblox. Like, he's well known. They're not going to do anything because it would hurt business. Yes, I love supporting people that steal from kids on Roblox, so our Discord server is more popular. This is why I'll never have kids. Now, in terms of this scammer, this isn't his first rodeo, by the way. In fact, this is his, I think it's been like 2 or 3 scams so far that he's done, but he's done the exact same scam that people have been falling for a long time. In fact, remember the first message I showed you? That was on July 9th, very recently. But if we look at this Roblox RTC tweet about this company called Motive Creations, wow, that logo, Vic Games looks extremely similar because scammers can't choose a different graphic design template. But this is exactly the same scam, the offer regarding buying your Robux game, but it happened during April 20th. In fact, this one scammer, most of the scams that you'll probably see regarding this Roblox stuff is run by a single dude who is a stereotypical Roblox scamming degenerate. Short, fat, pale skin because he doesn't get any sunlight. That's a sleeper build, all right. But whenever our scammer feels a little bit insecure about himself, then he has to pull up with flexing a Rolex watch on his scam server. I don't know why scammers do this. They gotta prove that they make money. Dude, no one cares. Now, just before I wrap up, turn off the computer, and reconsider my life choices, I want to point out that Roblox did make a public service announcement about this scam on April 25th, but again, it seems like every single week I get about 20 people telling me they fell for this scam. And while I wish Roblox could like add some crazy system putting all their engineers' brains together to prevent people from getting scammed, the reality is that it seems like the only people that will actually do anything are people that report this server and get it terminated off Discord. Even though after being terminated, it'll take 30 seconds for it to come back. It gets terminated, it's got the same invite, and Discord's like, yes, let's keep it up and running. But anyways, if you want to get rid of Vic Games, then what you want to do is you want to report their scam row-linked bot to Discord's developer compliance. And I'll have this linked in the description as always, but more importantly, you want to take down their rowlinked.co website. In this case, it redirects to rowlinked.com, but you want to report this website for phishing. You can report it to Google Safe Browsing, which I'll have linked in the description, but then it's also a good practice to report it to Microsoft Security Intelligence, link in the description again. But reporting it both to Microsoft and Google just gives that one final last stand against a kid getting scammed. That big red screen saying, Timmy, this is a scam, go play Roblox Pizza Simulator or something, I don't know. Anyways, gamers, I'm gonna be honest with you, the guy behind this scam is gonna get really egotistical and start spamming me in Discord, and I'm looking forward to it, baby. I'm excited. That's the reward for making this video. Anyways, make sure to spread the word, and that's all she wrote. Mwah!
Welcome to Dynamics Print, a tailored ERP solution powered by Microsoft, designed specifically for the printing and packaging In today's fast-paced world, efficiency is key, and Dynamics Print delivers just that. Leverage the latest in technology from cloud-based solutions, AI-driven insights and IoT integration, positioning your printing business at the forefront of technological advancement. With Dynamics Print, your company can streamline your printing and packaging workflows, optimize resource allocation, and gain valuable insights with real-time analytics. The user-friendly interface ensures seamless adoption across your organization, empowering every team member to contribute to your success. Dynamics Print is designed for the following businesses: packaging, roll label, gravure, flexography, offset, digital, large format, screen print, mail and assembly, web to print, finishing, and bookbinding. The product is a cloud-native SaaS solution that enables you to access your applications and data at any time, from any location. Dynamics Print seamlessly integrates with Microsoft 365 Finance and Operations, and you get no upfront payment and no local servers, just fully automated updates. Dynamics Print has helped
catfishes. We've all fallen for one. Some of us even tried to become one. And the worst of us made a Discord server about it. Today, I'm looking into awful Discord catfishing servers. But as I researched more and more, I realized that catfishing has infected 4 types of Discord communities. 2 of these communities are horrible, and all 4 of them make up the gooner epidemic that exists on Discord. And with that, I'm going to show you how catfishing has made Discord's gooner problem worse in every possible way. And ladies and gentlemen, we're starting off with an absolute heater. If you or your friends, because you're afraid of admitting you've gone on one of these servers, have been on an e-girl or dating Discord server, you'll notice that if they have a chat asking people to DM, man, it's just filled with girls everywhere. It's crazy. And it turns out most of them are catfishes. And the reason why I can say that is because there are tons and tons of YouTube videos and Discord servers that will teach you how to catfish. But there's videos like this, $1,000 a week with can't say that word on YouTube, call girl. If we watch the video, you can see what type of people we're trying to promote this money-making method to. And considering we start off with Trackmania, it's people who don't have an attention span more than 5 seconds, so potentially children.
All right, so look, I'm going to be teaching y'all how to make easy cash. I won't be giving out all the sauce.
There is so much Gen Z, Alpha, whatever, Skibbity Ohio brain rot in this video.
We don't want bums and time wasters. We want with money that can get milk.
Like, if you don't know what milk means, it means money. This isn't like a milking machine. Probably can't say that on YouTube. This is about money.
You can make hella in your first week, but if you don't, that's okay too. Don't give up.
In fact, the FBI has a whole entire blog post talking about romance scams, where the point of a romance scam is to create the illusion of a romantic relationship to steal from the victim.
You can also scam them for meetups or cam sessions, or just make them pay you money for food, clothes, or something like that.
Scam. Stealing. But no, it's just a money-making method, boys. But fortunately for me, the brain rot continues because he has his own Discord server. In fact, I joined the Discord server, and the first thing I saw in the Max Shop Discord server, why am I name promoting it? Because these guys deserve to be named and shamed, but they had a flexing channel where this person, Adam, said, "First money I made. Feels so good, man." And he made 15 euros. Man, I'm sure excited that I'm busting a scamming ring that only makes 15 euros. Except when I go to the next tab, we see this person here, Lexi, has $1,500 in Amazon gift cards that she has scammed. Sorry, it's a he. And this is absolutely everywhere, by the way. I've been to 100 different Discord servers. There's this one here called E-Who. They removed the RE, so at least you get a better hint on what that long censored word. They've done more. If you ask for more money, they have grounds to file a police complaint if the amount is high. So you want to keep it safe, you know? You don't want to get caught by the police. These people aren't going to go to the police and be like, "This guy's a predator, and I know because I extorted him." Instead of these people doing anything about these predators, they will keep them safe by not snitching if they get money from the predator. So a predator just gets to find more victims and you just get paid extra money. Is the goal actually to stop predators? This person's saying the cops are useless, they don't care. Or is the goal to make money? Be honest. It's for money. What about the people that are trying to do the right thing? And there are people on Discord that do try that, except there's a lot of shortcomings. The first one I found is this person's trying to catch predators, and they're also a minor. Already is so scuffed. Predators will also catfish younger victims as well. How did those people figure out this person was catfishing other minors? Well, there's probably law enforcement doing a sting-op. Do you want to be caught up in a law enforcement sting-op? No. But if you pretend to be a minor in a Discord dating server and you're actually talking to a real minor and they just send you a photo of themselves without any clothing out of nowhere, kaboom, crime. Just from one thing, there are so many different pitfalls that you can fall into that are either illegal or you get victimized or you get caught up in a government trap. That is the reason why Discord has their child self-endangerment policy. Discord doesn't want any of this bullshit. If you say that you're a minor on Discord and you participate in any adult activities, Discord will ban you. And the reason why they have to do this is because there are people that pretend to be kids to catch predators. And Discord's child endangerment policy will also ban people that are real victims of predators, which I don't agree with at all because their messages just get deleted and then it's hard to put the predator behind bars. And people on Discord are really fucking stupid. I hate to say it, but like some people have contacted me saying I exposed a predator and they send me a Google document that they've sent to the predator, which means if you try looking for the messages that show they're a predator, they're all deleted. Congratulations, you've now made it harder to catch the predator. But what about people that know what they're doing? Professional predator catchers. I spent a whole entire day researching predator hunting groups and it is genuinely a show. There are different governments saying that Canada's self-proclaimed predator hunters are doing more harm than good. Then, predator hunters, evidence used to charge 150 suspects. In the UK, from BBC. But then you see articles like this, Yorkshire predator hunters make public apology for falsely shaming an innocent man on live sting. And there have been cases where people do those live streams of exposing predators whose Xanax are sealed bottles and are 1 billion% pure. The word percent means out of 100. No, 1 billion% pure. Now let's see this dude unbox his delivery. All right, I gotta change the music. We can't have that music. I don't own the rights to it. But this is a dude with tattoos dancing to this sort of awesome gamer music, unboxing his illicit substances. I'm gonna speed up a little because he takes 5 years to open a box. It's not that difficult. Wait, that's it? And we don't even see him open up the box. This could be an unboxing for a Nintendo Switch 2, which would be equally as depressing as buying drugs on the internet. But this doesn't even show us anything. This is just a dude opening up a box who has tattoos. And apparently this tattooed up man is actually an anime fan. We're gonna play a game, right? I want you to guess this dude's Discord avatar picture just based on his video.
Just got my order. This is the way it came shipped.
Now you'd expect he's got that yeehaw ass accent. He probably from Texas. His Discord profile is a cowboy riding a horse. Maybe him in some cowboy boots, no shirt, no pants. Hold on, I'm fantasizing here. But you think he is a cowboy, right? Well, apparently, no. This is Arizadel with an eagle emoji. Okay, wait, this... No, it's a guy with a rapper in a fancy car as his profile picture, but he also has an eagle, which reminds me of someone I've talked to quite recently who also has an eagle. This is pretty clear that these are just alt accounts, right? And as I was figuring this out, I couldn't focus for the life of me because every second I would be getting a message, ding, 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 ding. I'm trying to pay attention, but no, I would have the owner of the Discord server, truck emoji, delivery vendor, green checkbox emoji. Within the same minute, he asked me what's up twice. And just like me breaking the ice with most girls I talk to on Tinder, I just say I love them right away. But in this case, delivery vendor just hits me with the paragraphs of got top quality psychedelic products for anxiety, depression, stress, insomnia. But then he starts listing off some chill pills like Xanax. Then he says meth. Meth is a stimulant. It is the polar opposite of a chill pill. If you're looking to chill out and you take meth, this is harmful. Considering this dude has no idea what he's even talking about, he's probably scamming. Actually, this isn't probably a scam, it's a scam. This dude just gave me his Bitcoin address. The next minute he says send a Cash App, also send with screenshots for confirmation. Then he says let me get it packed up immediately. He starts asking if I'm there, and then a minute later he says send with screenshot for confirmation. He's telling me let me know when you sent the money. I haven't even told him what I even want to order. He's just telling me to send money. I don't know how to make it any more clear. This dude is straight up just a scammer. Now, here's the thing. If he scams me, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna go to the police and say, hey, what's up, guys? I just tried to buy $1,000 worth of drugs, and this dude scammed me. Can you guys help me? No one is gonna report this stuff to the police, which is exactly why these people do it. And this reveals the first red flag that I discovered throughout this drug dealing escapade. It's overall incompetence, and it can mean a lot. Like, this dude stole images off off the internet that you can reverse image search. This dude doesn't understand that meth is not something to chill you out. It is a stimulant. And this dude having horrible customer support, asking me to send money when I haven't even told him what I want. Now, interestingly enough, when I joined this drug activities Discord server, it turns out I became one of the most popular people on Discord. I might have gotten a lucky break for once in my life because a lot of people finally wanted to be my friend. Not in real life, but just on Discord, and I'll take what I can get. I got a whole bunch of friend requests, and I got one from this established gentleman, General Kem. Now, were we gonna play games together, talk about life and our problems? No, he just added me as a friend. He didn't even accept it, and he invited me to Research Chemicals, a Discord server. And the first thing I saw when I joined his own Discord server is that he pinged everyone asking, can anyone tell me what this is? And it's a pill. Except on the back of the pill, it has a marking of 20 oxy, which is like a standard marking scheme that this is 20 milligram oxycodone. He's asking people what pill this is when there's markings on it. Red flag number 1, incompetence. Now, that's just one of the friends that hit me up. In fact, I got a friend request from someone called Ashley. Boys, I got taunted with fake friends, but this might be a girlfriend this time. No, it turns out this was just a woman who was trying to take my money or something. I don't know. But that didn't stop Mr. Roger Pocket. He said, yo, what's good? Not much. How about you? Packaging right now for shipping. I hit him with the definitely not a Fed word, wowzers. And then he sent me a link to his Discord server that has a whole bunch of drugs on it. It was a clear scam, exactly the same thing, reverse image Google search. So on my quest to find Discord servers that sell drugs, I've learned that every single person that reaches out to you is trying to scam my ass. So red flag number 2, people reaching out, not a good idea. So instead, what if I stop being a lazy 600-pound Discord moderator and I instead try to find servers by myself? So then I went to the worst place on the internet. I even made a whole video talking about this place, Discord. Now on Discord, I have seen servers that do credit card fraud. I've seen servers that are meant to find kids because they're owned by predators. Finding a Discord server on Discord that sells drugs should be no problem at all. So I type in drugs, and surprisingly, to Discord's credit, I didn't find much. But unfortunately, there's a lot of websites like Discord. For example, there's discord.me. Their moderation is so garbage where if you do search for drugs, there's a lot. By the way, YouTube employees, for every single one of those servers, I am going into the listing and I am reporting the server for selling drugs. And I'm doing that both on the website so that it gets taken down, but I'm also reporting these on Discord. Again, I'm not trying to teach people how to find drugs. I am trying to take this problem down. Now, when I stumbled across this server, it said that it was just a community. If you like to meet new people, hang out with friends, and have a blast. No, the server's just buying drugs. Now, there are some interesting things about this server, though. When I go to the Pics and Videos channel, this dude has a whole bunch of pictures of a whole bunch of illicit substances, but on every single photo, he spams his name across the whole image. Now, does he do it to make sure people don't steal his images? No, he does it so that when you try searching with Google Lens, it just kind of like doesn't work. Now, the interesting thing is that when I looked at this Discord server's announcements, they made an announcement a while ago. Wow, it's actually been like a whole entire year. But they say, unfortunately, the former server has been banned, but we'll still be there for our loyal custies. The new server is open to old and new custies. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. But Discord has banned the server before, and the server is still up. You gotta love it. But another interesting thing about the server that I saw is that you need to verify. You need to send a video of you saying, what's up? I'm not gonna say his name because if I say that, he's gonna clip this and put it in videos. But what's up, this dude? I'm trying to shop. And then show your proof of funds, aka money, the trap, and the grasser packs, just so we know you ain't the cops. By the way, if the cops wanted to take you down, they could easily manufacture this and send it to verify. There's also a lot more that's wrong with this, but I want to show you some videos. For example, this dude here.
Yo, Steve.
This dude is barely talking. I don't think the thoughts are forming in his head. That's how far down the rabbit hole he is in terms of addiction. It's just really sad. Now, there's this dude here that verified. Listen to the audio.
Hey, Steve. How's it going? I want to shop.
This is a teenager, bro. This is like, you're 16, you're like, hey, what's up, man? I'm trying to talk like, this is how adults talk. What's up, dude? And don't worry, it gets more ridiculous. This dude is sending screenshots of people getting their packages delivered. They're sending a screenshot of the tracking number, and they're only hiding a couple of the digits. And they have that for a whole bunch bunch of different shipments. The feds can just track this. What the is going through these people's brains? And by the way, it gets worse. There's these people that open up 2 kilograms of product, and in their unboxing, they show their shipping label. They don't cover it. If the feds were looking into this and they're trying to bust you for buying illicit material, your plug, your dealer just made it easier for you by basically doxing you to the government. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because it all factors into the third red flag, which is no privacy. This is so amateur that I genuinely think that this is either a Fed honeypot, like the feds are behind this, or again, it's someone trying to scam. I'm starting to get pretty frustrated now because here's the thing. I feel like I'm so close to showing you guys that there might actually be a Discord server that sells drugs. I think it'd be crazy, and I feel like I'm almost there. And desperate times call for desperate measures. I went on a Discord server called the Mini Dark Web. Get your guns, ammo, and drugs here, friends. Welcome to your Mini Dark Web. Now, this sounds like complete bullshit. And when I joined the server, there was no one on it, except if I scroll up to the very top, they invite you to the main server, Trap House, with the house emoji. And I wasn't really prepared for what I was about to experience because this server has a channel called Server Preview where they show you what's inside the server. This server had a channel dedicated to selling CSAM content. And what happens is that when a Discord server gets reported for having bad channel names, like this one here, it's called New Channel Name. All those channel names got reset. So Discord moderated this stuff, but they had a channel for CSAM content. And that didn't get this server deleted. You want to know what's even more disgusting? I got pinged in the server by Max Mega Sales. Bro, it says teen, it talks about this stuff. See, like, this is disgusting. Anyways, that's a rant for a different video, but let's tie it all back. We still have one more red flag that I need to tell you about, which is, I'm just gonna call it LARPing. It's basically where people try doing everything and it's physically impossible. They said they have hitman services. Doing a hitman service, that already requires so many logistics that you would not have the time or you wouldn't even care about the money you would get from selling hacking services or drugs. And since they're doing hacking, those hacking services are like the biggest scam you'll see on Twitter, where people are like, oh, you got locked out of your account? Well, you can hack into it by just adding this random person on Twitter who is totally legit, and if you give them money, they'll run away. It's an obvious scam. So at this point, is my investigation a failure? Is there no such thing as a real Discord server that would sell you drugs? No. And to make sure this video isn't taken down, I won't be showing the server, and I'm only going to be showing you very limited screenshots. But everything I've shown you so far in this video has been a major league sketchy and clearly a scam. I mean, the whole point was to show you all these different red flags to show you how these servers are sketchy. This Discord server had 0 red flags. They were focused on privacy. They had Telegram links, Signal links, ways to pay them discreetly. They would teach you how to pay them discreetly. There were no stolen images. I reversed image searched every single photo that they had. There was nothing. In fact, there was really no way that it could be on Google because the pictures that they sent were the dealer's name written out with like pills. It would be impossible to Photoshop, and it clearly wasn't AI. The dealer who was talking about drugs had extensive knowledge about everything they were selling. Like, the people that I've shown you before were complete idiots. This dude knew everything. This dude also in his own Discord server would list websites that you could buy drugs from. And when researching those websites, it seemed like legitimate websites. Cut it back a little bit. I'm talking to you like a normal person now, okay? No YouTuber voice, no trying to keep things suspenseful. But like, genuinely, I was kind of scared to even just show this in a video because I genuinely think it probably was selling drugs. Now, am I going to test it and show you whether or not I get a package at my doorstep? No, I'm not an idiot. But I will be spending the next 2 hours of my life struggling with Discord support by reporting everyone's messages because, again, I don't think Discord, a place with a lot of teenagers on it, should be hosting Discord servers that sell drugs. Hopefully that's pretty damn clear. But anyways, gamers, I expect the police to be at my door 2 hours after this video comes out. So I'm gonna be a busy beaver at that time. Bye-bye, love you. Mwah.
Creators, I built these 3 apps to run my business just using prompts with Base 44. Let's talk productivity. As a one
Today I learned that Discord has a ton of servers that commit fraud. But instead of useful stuff like how to commit tax fraud, it's cheap Uber Eats and cheap gaming PCs. But there's even some Discord servers that teach you how to commit fraud. And exposing that server is going to make a lot of Andrew Tate wannabes angry, and that's why I'm excited for this one. Out of the 3 different different fraud schemes I'm going to show you in this video. The first one I want to put at the very beginning because it is the most prevalent. It might even be tempting, but we're talking about the cheap Uber Eats, DoorDash, food delivery services. This fraud problem is so big that if you go on Discord and you just search for Uber Eats, it feels like a never-ending page of Discord servers that are all committing fraud. But I'm taking a look at one specific Discord server called Dishy, where you can get your delivery for 60% cheaper. Now, it's no surprise. When I see fraud, I instantly join the Discord server. But ladies and gentlemen, this fraud Discord server has their own order reward system, which is batshit insane when you look at the math. You earn 10 points if you vouch for your order in the vouching channel, which we'll take a look at. But you get 100 points if you place an order that has a subtotal of at least $25. Now, what does one no-fee order stand for? Don't ask me any questions because I don't know. There's going to be a lot of language in here that I just don't understand. Business model. But an order of $25 gives you 100 points. And to get a free order, you need to redeem 100 points. Now, hear me out for a second. This is how it works. If you place an order of $25, you get 100 points. And using 100 points, you can place another order for $25. They're just giving away free food. It's pretty obvious that this is all sketchy. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares what this guy says? I'm hungry and I want to eat something. For me to get my cheap Uber Eats, I need to give some random person on Discord my whole entire address and the gate code if I have one. If I live in some luxury mansion, they can now break into it. You can place any order, but you have a $25 minimum subtotal and you have a $30 max subtotal. So you can place orders between $25 to $30. All amounts that are $25 and under are 60% off. How do you get an order under $25 when the minimum is $25? And anything over $25 is overflow, where you pay full price, are discounted. If we had a competition on who could explain things more clearly, these guys would be dead last. But they did clarify at the very bottom that all food is legal. Now, for most of you, you have the question, what happens when I order food? And how can they afford this? Well, one of two things can happen. One, you open this ticket, you give them your address, you send them money, and then they ban you from the Discord server. And if you complain, we'll leak your fucking address. But I'm not satisfied with that answer because here's the thing. They do have a vouch channel where people have shown all these orders that they got. And let's say you somehow magically get your cheap Uber Eats order at your door. I can now eat McDonald's and get instant diarrhea. Except that's a bad thing and not just the diarrhea. Assuming this server is not a scam and they're not just going to take your money and ban you, how do they get cheap DoorDash or Uber? How does it work? The money has to come from somewhere. And well, it's fraud. TD Bank customers in several provinces were hit with fraudulent DoorDash debit charges. So that
succulent Chinese meal
is being purchased by some elderly lady who got their credit card stolen. But these people running these cheap DoorDash servers have a bunch of old people's credit card information. And you might be asking, if you have a whole bunch of stolen credit cards, why are you selling DoorDash? If you use those credit cards on websites like Apple to buy a whole bunch of electronics or use it to buy designer clothing, if you ship it to your house, it directly puts the fraud under your home address, which is bad. Or what can happen is that you might trip the credit card's anti-fraud system and it freezes the credit cards. So instead, what these people will do is they will sell you cheap Uber Eats to people that are either naive and they don't understand what's going on, or for people that don't care about committing fraud. You kind of have to be a fucking idiot in my eyes to be like, how am I magically paying less money for the same amount of food? So you're paying these fraudsters your clean money directly while you're taking the risk of the fraud being tied back to your own home address. It's the dumbest thing I have ever heard of people committing fraud for. Fast food. And you might think I'm completely talking out of my rear end here, but there's this dude here in the vouching channel, RN Bankroll. I wonder what RN stands for. It might be registered nurse, but you can see that they placed a meal. It was a delivery from Uber Eats for the customer Emerson F. Now that is definitely an old person's name. But they placed this order on March 15th at 9:10 p.m. And just before that, the same person, RN Bankroll, placed another order same day at 9:01 p.m. And this was for the customer Holly, or Hallie. That might be a hot 40-year-old mama that you're scamming, and that's a no. But they're placing an order around the same time from the same location in two different names. It's pretty clear that this name is probably the name on the stolen credit card. And with these two orders being different, it means that the people behind this Discord server have a bunch of stolen credit cards. And I think the interesting thing about this is that it's me fella, the person that owns the server in air quotes, the person running it, is this Logan dude. And funny enough, just a year ago, they were in an e-girl Discord server asking people if somebody from the USA who has never had an app called Temu before, could they DM him? He was trying to farm those Temu referrals stuff, so potentially committing referral fraud. And instead of doing this basic fraud, he upgraded to just straight up credit card fraud and stealing from old people instead of big companies. I shouldn't be saying this, but one of them I can be like, okay, I get it. But stealing from old people, man, come on. And again, I'm just showing you one Discord server out of the plenty. In fact, I found one Discord server that both does DoorDash and they also do Fortnite cheats. And the only reason why I'm talking about this is because I want some translation from someone in the audience. What is this dude here saying?
Well, all them other pasted ass cheats you be using. We on a lard dot run till the day I die. Tap the
I said absolutely no peanuts.
Naked people are totally zen, because less time wasted on claims admin means more time meditating. Visit naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start living like naked people.
And I think just with that one video, I am perfectly brain rotted enough to move on to our next type of fraud. Because as I was browsing TikTok, I came across this video that made me question everything, even my sexuality.
I only make $4,000 a month.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to make money rain from the heavens by becoming a reseller. And with that, I'm going to be making $2,000 a month. Actually, new patch dropped. It's $10,000. Actually, that one was late. I was reading the wrong patch notes. It's $10,000. Oh no, $20,000 a month. And that's where we get to our prime candidate of education, LXL Mafia. When you're learning from the Mafia, if you were born into Mafia, then you really know. I don't know what you know, but that's just a shitty movie I wanted to reference. Now, this guy here made a video called How I Made $20,000 Reselling at 16. So right from the gates, we're targeting teenagers who probably don't know better.
Now, these suppliers are the ones that actually have the products themselves and are going to give you the products for cheap prices that you can go ahead and then resell the products.
So in essence, what's happening is that he's buying as a new product. And how do I know this guy is trying to sell counterfeit products? I did the research, aka I went to his YouTube channel and he had a video called How to Stop Getting Banned from Reselling AirPods.
And make sure you guys are keeping it vague. We want to avoid any word that screams replica. And make sure you guys have vague keywords in your description. Now, we're not lying to the people, but we're not outright saying it's one-to-one or replica.
It's fraud, bro. And for some stupid reason, I don't know why people do this, but when you're telling people how to commit crime, why do you put your face directly in the video? But again, I'm a Discord channel, so I can't really touch this guy.
All you got to do is join my Discord, link in the description.
And ladies and gentlemen, I am now part of the LXL Mafia business network type shit. Now, the first thing I saw when I joined this Discord server is the word premium, so I hope you already know what's about to happen. But there was a channel called Premium Wins, where people flex and show all the profit they made. Easy sales during school. These are teenagers who are selling counterfeit AirPods to people at their school. Now, when I was in school, I was talking about Wizard 101. But these guys are on a whole different level because this is how to get your shit kicked in 101. In the final Premium Win, oh man, too soon, too soon. Rest in peace. So it should be pretty clear that the people that are doing this sort of stuff are young teenagers, because I was looking through the general chat and Mr. Senor said, I don't know what to do. I bought fake AirPods and I don't want to get into legal trouble when selling. What should I do? Bro, to be honest, you don't really get caught if they are good one-to-one. You can sell the ones you got as fake if they bad fakes, but we got the best AirPod vendors and get access. Again, they're trying to sell me premium. And for the people that are asking, the reason why he put V3NDORS, like not vendors, but he put a 3, is that these people are like so schizophrenic and afraid of being like tracked down by the feds or getting banned by Discord that they will change their words to include numbers in them. Newsflash. Actually, I don't want to spoil it, but this doesn't work. And it doesn't stop there, because we have this person here who's actually a kid. How do I convince my parents to show them that this is not illegal? Just tell them it isn't illegal, because these products are made from the same people that these big companies get all their products from. And basically, they're paying, like, say, $4 per shoe or even $10 per headphones. And they just list them at a higher price in their store. And this doesn't sound right to me, because after, I shit you not, 10 seconds of Googling, it was the first result that I saw. According to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, talking about the truth behind counterfeits, purchasing counterfeit goods is illegal, and transporting those goods into the U.S. may result in civil or criminal penalties. If you're selling some doo-doo AirPods that are $9, under the guise that it is a real product. That is the definition of fraud. In fact, it seems like it's so common sense that this young fella here is explaining it to us.
About this. Reselling any replica items, including AirPods, is actually illegal.
And if we take a look at the comments, the second comment said, "Pro gatekeeper." This dude has drunken the Kool-Aid. He's just saying that so guys don't make it oversaturated. Bro just wants to make his money. This is why you should not resell AirPods. Holds up all the AirPods he's currently selling. We got a gatekeeper over here. If it isn't clear, the people that are doing this reselling stuff, I'm gonna put it nicely here. They are the dumbest people I have witnessed on the internet. I stumbled across two 16-year-olds who live in their mom's house. It's just like a friend coming over to another friend's house, and what they do is they make YouTube videos about them reselling. In their video, they show they're unboxing their massive box of like counterfeit clothing. So it's them committing a crime and showing them unboxing their goods. And in the video, they show their tracking number, and if you search up their tracking number, you can see that the package was delivered to their house. And in the video, the box that they shows their home address.
Tooth sensitivity actually changes the way patients eat and drink, and you don't have to put up with it. Sensodyne Repair and Protect will protect your teeth from sensitivity. Every dentist I speak to, they all recommend Sensodyne.
Yeah, so the collective IQ of the reselling fraud scheme is like 2. But with that, no, this guy is a pro gatekeeper. In fact, if we go back to LXL Mafia Network, these guys are in fact gatekeeping me because I wanted to get all these resources, books, student advice. But the issue is that if I try looking at the permissions, these are only for people that have premium. How am I going to get this locked information without having to spend $30? And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make a public thanks to every single other moron on YouTube that explains how they commit fraud. From this one dude who is vlogging himself selling fake sneakers to an old Asian man who is also the most drippy hype beast I have ever seen. We have this dude.
I don't get what I did. I don't know why you're taking me down, bro. Like, what I even do? I just posted AirPods, bro. I didn't put refs or anything in the bio or whatever, so I don't get why I'm getting taken
I don't even know what he said, but I think he streams on Twitch or something. And we have this dude here.
You probably clicked on this video because you're broke and trying to find a way to make money. Well, I don't gatekeep, so I'm gonna show you guys the perfect method.
He does not gatekeep, ladies and gentlemen. This is the person we should be getting our information from. How to actually start reselling in 2025. Now, if you watch this video, all he wants you to do is to just scroll down and click on this supplier's link that he has in his description. But instead of this guy trying to sell you premium, because actually he does sell premium, he sells a membership, I guess, but also he sells his vendors, where you can buy FairPods, you can buy Denim Tier, Deninim Tier, Pone Vendor, Chrome Hearts Vendor, Daisun, our rap vendor. Now, is this an illiterate dude making a website for the first time? No, these are all spelt incorrectly to prevent the website from being taken down. All these YouTube videos are trying to show you is how to sell counterfeit goods as real stuff, so they're telling you how to commit fraud. And these guys will help you commit fraud even better than you thought you could by just making you pay for the information. If you guys ever heard of the saying of selling shovels in a gold rush, that's exactly what this website is doing. If I get the Daisun, what I'm getting is I'm just getting a link to like a PDF or an email with just a text file that has like a whole bunch of websites that I can buy fake crap from. Now guys, I'm gonna disrupt the whole entire reselling business by showing you a vendor that I found on Discord. But they have their Discord server, they're called Nice Kick Shop. Happy New Year, buy Jordan 4 Bape, send free hoodie. Now this screams trustworthy. In fact, I went to their own website. I feel like my credit card information is gonna go right to those Uber Eats people. But instead of me just completely laughing at this, there are Discord servers and different websites where it's these Chinese companies that are trying to sell you these fake products. In fact, these guys have their own QC needed channel where basically you ask about certain things. So like, anyone got knocked a hot step 2 QC pics? I'm gonna be honest with all of you, I don't know what the any of that means. But you can ask for how they look, and people that have bought from that website or people that are part of the website team, they'll send videos of them wearing the shoes. And we have this heater here, this guy with his light up Skechers. Why would you ever want to buy these? I don't know. So now at this point in the fraud scheme, you have given someone money to get one of their special vendors, and then you gave money to some random sketchy company, but at the end of the day, you finally have some garbage sitting in your room. You're like those 16-year-olds that showed their home address in a YouTube video. You're gonna make it big now. No. People are gonna think that you're scamming them.
First of all, you can build trust with the customer by showing them a receipt, for example, from stock X. In order to gather a receipt, you will need a fake receipt generator.
Oh, and by the way, that receipt generator, you gotta pay for that too. I'm in this Discord server where they have a purchase channel where you need to pay a subscription to generate fraudulent receipts because Photoshop and going on Google, too hard. Pickaxes during the gold rush. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, you have every piece that you need to commit this whole fraud scheme. You can sell the product with a fake receipt, make money, which is just committing fraud by scamming people. And if you're dumb enough, like half the people I showed you, you might even make TikToks about it, showing off your probably fake watches because the whole thing is talking about reselling. So this really isn't flexing, I guess. I don't even know. So it's time to make my brain just not function at all by moving on to our final bit of fraud. If we remember those Uber Eats fraudsters for a second, why commit fraud for only $25 worth of McDonald's diarrhea-inducing food product when instead you could commit fraud by getting a whole gaming PC with an RTX 5090 for 500 Great British pounds? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm on TikTok and I'm looking at Mafia PCs, which is also called the PC company. They have multiple names because they're just spamming TikTok. And I mean, to be honest, when you hear these TikToks, it had the bedroom music on that I gotta turn off because I don't know if I can use it in the video. I'm a little aroused, as in excited, to reach into my pants and grab out my wallet and give this guy money. I just talked about people getting Uber Eats for cheap. And if this person's selling these computers for cheap, maybe it's the same sort of fraud scheme. In fact, one of my viewers that reached out to me about this interviewed the guy in a ticket saying, you know, the fact that a 4090 PC is 500 euros, it doesn't make any sense. And this guy said, "Are you stupid? We refunded the PC, so we got it for free." And then they said, "Don't judge a book by a cover." And the second I saw this guy get angry, my God, I knew what I had to do. I went into the Discord server and I created a ticket because I wanted to buy the 5090 PC. I need a new work computer. And unfortunately for this guy, I was being a little bit stubborn because I told him, your business plan does not make sense. If you get computers for like 10 to 20% of MSRP and you can easily sell them for 70 to 80% MSRP, because if you have like a 5090, you sell that thing for the normal price and it's not scalped, it's instantly getting bought by all the scalpers. And if that's the case, why is the PC company selling computers for only 30% of MSRP? But according to this guy, he sells thousands of computers, not a little amount. And then he says, "I hate the word. You have no idea how the world works, bro." And ironically, I told him that he could sell thousands of 5090s for 80% MSRP. And he said, "Nah, I can't because I can't go through tax. You just admitted you don't pay tax." Yeah, I'm underage. I admitted. You've said literally every possible thing that could be a red flag as a scammer. Congratulations. And he said, "Thanks, man." And then he started getting defensive with me. It's fine. I still got thousands of customers a month. If you scroll through, there's a lot of tickets that people made, by the way. This is really bad. And I said, if you're going to be insecure about things, at least have something substantial to back it up. I have everything to back up. I could get kicked out of everything and I'll have enough money to live by myself for years upon years. He's reaching. But unlike the Uber Eats thing that we talked about, if you go to their shop, let's see, I want to get a 5090 PC. Okay, this is what we saw on TikTok. Now I'm going to do this revolutionary move. Not a lot of people know about it. It's called Search with Google Lens. And I just searched the image. And would you look at that, boys? It's being sold on eBay by this. Oh, there's even a Reddit thread talking about the PC company. But this was being sold on eBay. These photos, they're exactly the same. Is this Dan? Hello? Am I talking to Dan? No, because Dan is probably a real human being who's selling a computer on eBay for $6,000. I think paying $6,000, which might be a lot of extra money on top, is a lot more realistic than paying 750 Great British pounds. Like I said with the Uber Eats, if someone uses a stolen credit card to buy a $6,000 gaming computer to give to you for 750 Great British pounds, it doesn't work because the credit card's going to be frozen. In fact, a lot of people don't have a credit card limit that's like $6,000 US just in one purchase. That is instantly how you get your credit card frozen, even if it's a real purchase. I've done this before. I bought something expensive. Instantly frozen credit card. My bank was like, "Bro, you got hacked." "No, I'm just making poor financial decisions right now. The depression has hit pretty hard, chief." Objectively, even if this dude was trying to commit fraud, this just wouldn't work. But they even have a proof channel, and I mean, I don't know what you guys are expecting. I click on this image here. "Thanks for the white 4090 PC. Looks so good with my setup, brother." Oh no, don't do it. Search with Google Lens. And Oh my goodness, it's on You Buy Philippines. This is even on Amazon. Now, despite the PC company saying, I don't scam, never will, it's filth, this is a scam. In fact, just to make it even more clear, he opened up a new purchasing system where you can pay a 50% deposit, which is just lowering the bar to scam people. You'll see, no, I don't have to pay 750 Great British Pounds. No, instead, I can give this guy 375 Great British Pounds. And what's going to happen when you give this guy money? You're going to disappear. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all my posh brain can handle from this disgusting Discord fraud. But as Queen Lizzie once said, God bless her soul, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Everyone in the UK is gonna murder me for that horrible joke, so I'm just taking shelter. Bye gamers, I love you. Mwah! This Roblox scam started off as one of the dumbest scams I have ever seen in my whole entire miserable existence on this planet. But over the last few months, scammers have been slowly upgrading the scam to get better and better. And with this upgraded scam, they've managed to trick developers into thinking they're being impersonated. And the scammers behind this have gotten away with millions of Robux, or tens of thousands of dollars if you don't play Roblox. So with that, I think it's time for me to do my job for once. I'm gonna ruin the scammers' payday and make them angry by telling you exactly how this scam works so that you can avoid it. But to keep things interesting, I'm going to show you how the scammers upgraded their scam. Because I'm going to be straight up, the first version of the scam was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Because one of my viewers here, Moolah, we're not talking about the profile picture, okay? We're moving past it. We're mature enough. But this person named Alex reached out to them, and they're an admin of Color Fuel Studios. And Alex said to Moolah, as he hits the drag from his Siggy, we've had to ban you from Color Fuel Studios for scamming and hacking one of our members. If this was a mistake or if there's more to the story, you can appeal the ban. Now, as an owner of a Discord server, none of my staff would do this. We don't care enough about you to do this. Now, since the screenshot is in 2 pixels, I have to show you a different example, but apparently they sent a scam Roblox link of Roblox. Oh, this might actually be an adult website. Roblox.com. Obviously a clear scam website. Apparently the victim got logged out of their account, and you, not only are you a scammer, but you're also a Discord e-gangster. You say thanks for the account, idiot, n-word, limfow, stupid f-slur, thou, you can't spell, so you are a Roblox e-gangster. They did a great job at replicating them. Stupid f-slur thought he was getting Robux. Apparently you sent that to someone, and that's why you got banned from this Discord server. Now the reason why I didn't even care about covering this scam is because you can see Moolah here has a clan tag, and in the screenshot, they don't have a clan tag. So the scammers... the scammers can't even do a good job of impersonating someone. And that's where the first upgrade comes in. Actually using your fucking brain. It's level 1 because it can actually be considered a scam. Basically, the impersonation works. They send you to a Discord server, and when you join this Discord server, it tells you to verify with the Rover Discord bot. Now, Rover is a real Discord bot. A lot of Roblox servers have it, except this is the real Rover website, and when you verify on the scam server, it takes you to this Rover website. And when you click on this login with Roblox button, it'll show you this pop-up telling you to log into Roblox. Now, if you have eyes, you should hopefully see this. This is roblox.com.ag. This is not just roblox.com, it's roblox.com.ag. Because for some reason, this drives me fucking crazy, but for some reason, the Antigua and Barbuda Islands, they have their own domain of .ag, but they're like, you know what? Let's make more complicated, because if you're a company and you have commercial activities, your website can end in .com.ag. .com means commercial. Anyways, before I continue my rant and just start yelling at people who can't use their fucking brain, when you log into this website, you get hacked. And this is part of a scam that was covered years ago by Creekcraft, back when he looked homeless. But in the last 2 months, the scammers have upgraded their scam, specifically the scam website. Because this exact same pop-up that my viewer showed me came from a website called rowverify.com. And if I go to rowverify.com, when I click login with Roblox, it doesn't show me a pop-up saying roblox.com.ag, which a lot of people know what to look out for. In this case, though, the website's taking its sweet-ass time because I don't think the scammers can code a website that performs well. The amount of time I was waiting for this website to load, I had kids, a whole entire family, and a divorce at the same time. But in the scam website, it'll tell you to authorize with Roblox OAuth. You click on continue, it's redirecting you to roblox.com with this loading wheel that is loading itself. It doesn't even work. Brilliant scam website, but you'll see it tells you to log into Roblox. Now, let's get into the mindset of someone who plays Roblox. But if you're looking at this website, it's hard to tell that it's a scam. There's no roblox.com.ag, and the sad reality is that a lot of people won't realize this is a scam. The way that this scam works is that this is like a website inside of a website. If I inspect element and I click on the page, you can see this is an iframe. Easiest explanation is a website inside of a website. And the website inside of this fake rover website is roblox.mq. Now, if roblox.mq was smack dab on this page, most people will be like, oh, this is an obvious scam. But since it's an iframe, people don't see the name of the website and they log into their Roblox on this thing. Now, just this scam website is a big part of the final version of the scam. And I'm telling you about it now because I know the attention span of Roblox kids. It would be a miracle if they even made it this far in the video. Just look out for this. But the scam overall is still the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I give zero if I get banned from some random Discord server. Most people who aren't chronically online will just be like, okay. But then this scam got a potent upgrade. I make that sound all suspenseful. Because what if you actually got banned from a real Discord server that you cared about? And that's for one of my viewers here, the big man.
The big man, he gonna break in, and he gonna take them teeth, and he gonna leave nothing.
QuickBooks gives me the superpower to automate my invoices, track expenses, and get paid fast so I can get back to what I love. Get more done in less time with QuickBooks Online.
I've got something for you.
Did you get it?
Yes, I did. Go ahead. Finally. So glad you love it.
This season, experience the true joy of gifting with Oh So Heavenly, where every gift is made to delight, surprise, and bring to life the magic of giving.
Reached out to me because out of nowhere, the Real Dino Discord bot banned them off the Blocks Fruit Discord server. For my viewers that have to worry about taxes, depression, and marriage, this is a Roblox game. But the upgraded part about this scam is that this person did actually get banned, and conveniently, 6 minutes after they get banned, someone reaches out to them. Hello, I am Kaito Kaitio with the Blocks Fruits moderation team, and you've been banned for scamming users in the server with a rat. I've attached a video of the evidence we received, and if you have any complaints or questions, please let me know. Now, the screenshot that the scammer sent is showing that they are part of the staff team on the Blocks Fruit Discord server, except if you actually go to the Blocks Fruit server and you click on Kaito's account, you can see their username is Kaito, whereas the scammer's username is Kaito Kaitio. You know, you can look at the letters and stuff, but you can also see that the scammer did such a bad job at inspect elementing, they forgot to add the background to this edit profile button. Scammers, man, they're the dumbest motherfuckers I've ever dealt with. So far, this is someone pretending to be a staff member of the server, but you did actually get banned from the server. And they send you a video of the proof. But these people are trying to trade items in Roblox. And the big man here says, but are the items clean, right? And have you used a checker for them? This person's like, yo, what the hell do you mean, brother? The big man's like, have you used an item checker? How are you supposed to do that? It's an application I'll send. And then they send itemchecker.exe, which is basically virus.exe. Like, this, of course, is a virus. But what the scammers did is they sent this whole entire video to the Blocks Fruits moderation team and got the big man banned. Rest in peace, the big man. But this whole entire video is the most fakest I have ever seen. I don't know how the Bloxfruit moderators accepted this as real proof, because they don't even show you like the top of the DMs where it shows this dude's username. Like, this could be anyone's account and they just changed their display name to the big man. The problem though is, as you'll see with one of the later versions of the scam, things get so much worse. Well, let's get to the next version of the scam, because the scammers sat down in a conference room. It's actually just one person and they're talking to their inner demons. Why are we taken from the big man who doesn't have a very big Roblox wallet, when instead we can scam Roblox developers, the people who make the games that get all the Robux from the dumb kids buying microtransactions, because for some reason kids eat this up like fentanyl-laced candy. So the scammers are trying to target developers now, and that's the next part of the scam, because Kitty Code here contacted a developer called Panda, who made the game Troll and Seek. Now, the approach is a little bit different. Kitty Code says, hey, someone's pretending to be you and trying to sell Troll and Seek. I can't do this. And they already scammed someone out of $2,000. But then they send a screenshot of Panda saying, selling Troll Seek, high conversions. Basically, they're trying to sell their game. And Panda's like, that is not me. Those stats are not mine. This is completely fake. Send me an invite. Kitty Code sends an invite to discord.gg/gameblocks. Who would have thunk it, boys? It already got banned by Discord. Discord has actually been doing a decent job at like banning a lot of these servers, so whoever's behind that, I love you. Hit me up. Now, a buddy of mine has a time machine, and instead of preventing my birth, he told me that the way that this scam works is exactly like what I told you before. Anyways, Kitty Code is desperately trying to scam Panda. I just warned you about it because your rep is being affected. This is like the biggest reason why the scam works. Because who gives a if I get banned off a Discord server? Oh, good heavens, I have to spend less time on Discord. The scammers did me a favor. But on Roblox, if someone is scamming other people under your name, it's something that you have to worry about, because Roblox kids are dumb. They're gonna think that's really you scamming them, and it's a problem that you're gonna have to deal with. So that's why a lot of these developers bite the bait. They fall for the scam. Now, fortunately for us, Panda here realizes this is a scam, and they waste a whole entire hour of Kitty Code's time. Kitty Code eventually crashes out and says, bye, poor loser. Now, the unfortunate thing about all this is that there are people that do fall for the scam, because I want to talk about Equestride, Horse Girls Rise Up. This is someone who got scammed, and they were used as a tool to upgrade the scam and make it even worse. Because someone named Kazor, who is the developer of Equestride, they unfortunately were a victim of the scam, because one of their developers, Possible Panda, which mad shout out to them, they've been very helpful, but they DM'd me saying, hello, I am a developer for a Roblox game called Equestride. And today, the owner of Equestride got hacked, leading to about 4 million Robux supposedly stolen. That's like $14,000. It's a lot of fucking money. And the way they got scammed is the exact same story we've heard before. They fall for the fake rover scam and they get hacked. But what happens after they get hacked? And as no surprise, it involves making money. But the first way these scammers make money is that they will go into the hacked account and just buy things with Robux or buy game passes made by the scammer, and they'll transfer it to the scammer's account. They basically just steal all their Robux. But then the scammers redirect their focus to the game by the developer. But in this game, you can spend 90 Robux to reincarnate yourself as a horse girl. And like, this game is genuinely successful. You can see that it has 841,000 visits. Like, this game, it makes a fair bit of Robux. But what the scammers will do is they will transfer this game to an alt account that they have, and they will try to sell it to other developers. And these scammers were trying to sell the group for $4,000 US. But the interesting thing about them selling this game is that if they sold this to one of these developers, those developers would eventually get scammed, because Roblox, they have actually been pretty decent at recovering accounts from the scam. So if you bought this game for $4,000, you're gonna have the game, and then it'll just magically disappear as Roblox gives it back to the real owner. So you as the developer get scammed out of $4,000 by proxy. Now, with the GameBlock server being banned, you might think this scam is over. You're completely wrong, because there's 2 more servers that are doing the exact same thing by the same scammers. We have discord.gg/gamemarket. Oh goody, for me to see anything, I need to go to verify, and then I click verification, and I click the CAPTCHA. You'll see in the pop-up, it says you will be redirected to row-verify.com, the same scam website. And then we have Row Monitor, which which these people stole this vanity from a Twitter account, but if I join the Discord server, surprise, surprise, folks, if I start my verification and I click the CAPTCHA, same thing. It wants my account information, row verified. This is the exact same scam made by the same people across multiple servers. And I'm pointing out that the scam is changing names because as videos come out exposing the scam, these scammers will be constantly changing their name. Now, with us being at level 4 of the scam compared to having levels 5, 6, and 7, you would hope that most people realize this is a scam. They waste Kitty Code's time and it leads to beautiful messages like this, where Kitty Code calls someone poor and drop the N-word. And that does happen, but the unfortunate reality is that Possible Panda has been talking to a lot of Roblox developers and they've documented that games like Equestride, The Flower, Levels, Grow a Kingdom, Super Punch, games with millions of visits are being hacked constantly. And when you take a look at the Super Punch game and you go to their group, you can see that the Sundo account that got hacked, telling you to join .gg/gameblocks, if you click on the profile, it no longer exists. And is it because Roblox is trying to help take the hacked account down? No. This Sundo account got banned because the scammers have upgraded their scam. They're using Equestride in combination with drama, blackmail, and gore. Yeah, I had to see some horrible shit today, but that's for my therapist and I to talk about. But for level 5 of the scam, we're talking about victim number, I didn't keep count, X-Topper, one of the owners of the Sonic reincarnated RP game. What a mouthful of words to say. Now, in this upgraded version of the scam, the start is exactly the same. This person, Aqua Girl, reaches out to Velmi, who is X-Topper, and you can see that this is not Aqua Girl Dev, it's Aqua Girl Dev with 2 A's, and it's the exact same scam. But when X-Topper got hacked, their Roblox account got a whole new makeover, because their username is now blank me mom. Blank me mommy. Now, I expressed my mommy issues by dating 40-year-olds, but I guess this is another way of doing it. But you can see in their profile, they have a new shirt, which I can't show you yet, but their description says hitbuy.gg/equestride. But they're doing this so that you waste your time talking to the horse girls, saying that they hacked into you when they didn't. Also, they have more time on your Roblox account. And with that extra time, they do more damage. Because it turns out X-Topper, when their account was hacked, they uploaded this decal. Now, the photo, I can't even show you on YouTube. It is full-on gore. So the scammers are a piece of shit exposing this to kids. But in the same image, you can see that they have the Roblox name of Kazor. They're trying to frame the poor horse girls for being the people behind exposing kids to gore on Roblox and scamming and hacking into people's accounts. But the reason why the scammers do this and they upload this is so that they can put it on the shirt of the Roblox avatar and they can report the Roblox account and get it banned. And they do that so that they can further extort the developer. $100 or your account is permanently terminated. And X-Topper is like, if I pay you that money, how are you even going to undo everything that you did to get my account permanently terminated? Because remember, the Roblox account has already uploaded gore. Like, it is going to be banned. And somehow the scammer is going to defy the laws of Roblox and magically get your account not banned and get it returned. Like, this makes zero sense. But this is where the scam straight up looks real. Like, I'm not trying to be a YouTuber, 4 a.m. Fortnite potion gone wrong, gone sexual. Like, genuinely speaking to you as a normal human being, I would probably fall for this. But you know how those scammers used Equestride to make their scam better? Well, the scammers kind of took inspiration from that, and they made their scam better by using the Roblox game Brace, developed by Wilfie. Because one of my viewers here, Lucille, reached out to me talking about how they got contacted by someone named Wilfie. And Wilfie here is doing the exact same scam that I've shown you before. The problem, though, is Lucille showed me the profile of the scammer, and they have a Roblox connection to the account Wilfie. But on my alt accounts, I have both of the Wilfie accounts. We have the fake account here, which you can see has this nice, beautiful profile. Then we have the real Wilfie, which looks a lot more legitimate because they're depressed. All developers are depressed. And if we go to Wilfie's profile, okay, I gotta zoom out a little bit. You can see Wilfie has a whole bunch of connections, specifically this Wilfie Roblox connection. Now, if I open it up, it's this profile here, 25 connections. And if we scroll down and go to their communities, they are the owner of the Half Dice group, and this Half Dice group owns the Brace Roblox game. Now, if we go to the fake Wilfie, which has the nice colorful profile, you can see that they have only one connection, but when I click on their connection, it takes me to the same profile. You can see it's exactly the same because if I swap between the tabs, you can see the URL doesn't even change at all. It is exactly the same. The scammer has found a way to put the real Roblox account on their profile. Is this Wilfie actually trying to scam people, or is this some sort of Discord exploit that allows them to take people's connections? Well, it's neither of them. The reality is that Wilfie got hacked, and during those couple of days when Wilfie's account was hacked, the scammer went on an alt account, they pretended to be Wilfie, made this whole entire profile, then they went into their Discord settings, went to their connections, and they linked Wilfie's Roblox account to their Discord account. So now when you go to the fake Wilfie, it looks real. And this is a problem because a lot of people will ask me, oh, how do I tell this YouTuber is real? Or how do I tell this Roblox person is real? I usually tell them, like, hey, click on their Discord profile and just look at their connections. That advice is no longer true or safe. Which, by the way, Discord, this is their user ID. Please and thank you. I have no special way of reporting this to Discord, so I just put it in a video and eventually they'll get banned. Now, fortunately, Lucille, they were super skeptical and they're like, I don't trust this 15 chopped ass scam. And the scammer that's pretending to be Wilfie said, it's okay, you're broke anyways. I'm getting flashbacks to Kitty Code, and it turns out one of my viewers here, Sussy Baka, got DM'd by Kitty Code, and they sent me their user ID, and if I hover over it, it's Wilfie. It is the exact same scammer, and they are extremely successful with this, because I was sent this tweet by Dev NWA who talked about this scam, and they have a screenshot of the scam Wilfie account pinging everyone saying, oh, I'm selling 31,000 Robux. They sold it. On the same day, 126,000 Robux. On the same day, they hack someone else, and they have 1 million Robux, and they're calling it clean, which is hilarious. These are not clean Robux. They stole it from someone, so so they're trying to scam people that buy this. They managed to sell it. A week later, 290,000 Robux, selling it, all sold like an hour ago. And a day after, 500,000 Robux. Like, overall, we have 2 million Robux, which is this much on the screen because I forgot to calculate it beforehand. Like, a lot of fucking money is stolen by this one person. And the problem is that this scam has one final upgrade. I have saved the best version for last. The best as in, like, the most terrifying, unfortunately. The reason why this is terrifying is because I don't know how to explain to you how the scam works. Well, you can see in this Google Doc, it is a 5 million Robux hack. Translation, $17,000. And the victim was Kone Thorax.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
The G20 Correspondence Desk on 702 is proudly brought to you by RMB and FNB, divisions of First Rand Bank Limited. Well, let's talk a bit about the G20 now, as I...
Thankfully not Kone Kokitten, but Kone Thorax got a DM saying that they have been banned from the Hidden Devs Discord server. This is a real legitimate ban like I showed you before. And fortunately, like an angel from the heavens, 4 hours later, this person named Jordan reached out to them saying, you were banned from Hidden Devs, but we found some possible issues with the report. Some of the evidence may have been faked. So we're opening the case and would like your side of the story to help resolve this fairly. If it's not resolved, it could lead to further consequences. What the do you mean by that? I got banned from a Discord server. What are you gonna do next? And crash down the front door of my house and put me in jail? But then they send proof of Kone Thorax scamming people, and they link to a YouTube video. Now, this is the most important part about this scam. In the video, they show that Kone Thorax sent a DM to a fake Roblox scam website, roblox.tg. And in the screen recording, they show if you click on the profile, this is the real Kone Thorax. They're in the mutual server with Hidden Devs. They turn off streamer mode. They show that the profile has the username Kone Thorax. They go to search. They search for the dude's name. They click on his profile. They go to their DMs, and the message is still there. So, like, this is really Kone Thorax sending the scam. But it gets even better, because what they do is they refresh Discord to show you that it's not inspect element, and the message is still there. Kone Thorax scamming people. They copy the user ID, they paste it in, it's the same user ID. They go to the Discord server, they ping that user ID. It leads to Kone Thorax. They click on the account. It is the same profile. Like, this is unrefutably the dude who sent the scam message. Oh, hello, Linus Tech Tips. But this looks legitimate. It looks like Kone Thorax is trying to hack someone. And that's the scariest part, because Kone Thorax showed a video of him going through his own Discord saying, yo, this Michael dude who reported me, I never messaged him. You could see that I never replied to him. So it's clear like Kone Thorax wasn't scamming this dude. Plus, why would they when they have a Roblox game with 5 million Robux? It makes no sense. And 99% of people are going to watch this video and just ban Kone Thorax for trying to hack people. Like, Like this straight up, like it looks like real proof. And that's the scariest part. These scammers have found a way to trick 100% of Discord mods to get people banned. And I don't know exactly what's going on here, but I think scammers are making custom Discord plugins to like frame people for scamming, because the only thing off about this video, the only thing, this is how nitpicking I have to be, but most people on Discord, when they're in DMs and they want to click on someone's profile, they click on the name in the message and then they click on their profile. I've never seen people use Discord and their natural reaction is to click on this profile thing on the top left. That's the only thing that was off, and the fake message and then clicking on the fake message to show a profile requires way more coding, and scammers are pretty lazy. But now the fact that I said that, they're gonna figure out a way to do it. So if you're a Discord moderator, your job is now infinitely harder. Unpaid labor, even worse. But getting back to the scam at hand, this Jordan dude, Jordan Feeks, then goes on a 1 hour long phone call with Kone Thorax. All this Jordan scammer is doing is just building trust. And eventually Kone Thorax is tricked into sharing their screen, and then it goes into their Roblox. They're like, yeah, no, this is my Roblox account. You can see I have all my security and stuff. Jordan manages to get Kone Thorax to turn off their authenticator, and then while Kone Thorax is screen sharing, they go to their email, and in the background, Jordan is sending these one-time codes to claim the account, and you can see it starts off with like, your 2-step verification code. Oh, it got changed. Oh, that's fine. Oh, there's a new login added. Oh, there's a passkey. You just got hacked. A new trade attempt. Oh, privacy change attempt. New phone number. New recovery codes. Robux spend. Kone Thorax was actively getting hacked. In fact, this scam is so bad because Kone Thorax was DMing the scammer, Jordan, that's scamming them, saying, I'm being hacked live. And they get in a call for 17 minutes, and Kone Thorax is like, he knows I'm fighting back. It's because you're in the voice call with the scammer. That is how good they did of a job at convincing Kone Thorax that they're trying to help them. And the only giveaway that this was a scam is the fact that this Jordan account isn't even like a staff member in Hidden Devs. And I'm pointing that out because given every single other part of the scams that I showed you, all the way from level 0 to level 7, everything from real bans to impersonating real developers and getting real connections on their account, there is going to be a scammer that is going to get every single piece of the puzzle to craft the perfect scam. Just be on the lookout and trust absolutely no one. Not even your mother. She wants your Roblox account. Anyways, that's how I actually scam people. I pretend I'm their mom and then I ask for their Roblox account, and it's worked 0% of the time because I usually just fall in love with the mom and the family gets divorced, and it's all really depressing. Anyways, gamers, bye-bye. I love you. Mwah! I've been sent a Roblox scam that is completely different from what I've looked at before because it takes advantage of 3 loopholes in both Roblox and Microsoft to hack your Roblox account, and I'm going to explain how it all works. Now, if you're on Roblox every waking hour of your life, you probably received a DM from a random person saying, did you know dailyrewards.io can win you cool items and even premium every day? Now, despite popular belief, I am actually a 6-year-old, and I believe everything I read on the internet. So I went to dailyrewards.io and the website was down. The funny part about this website is the fact that it's not down, it actually got held by the domain registrar, which basically means, nerdy translation, Hostinger was like, you're running a scam on this website, we're taking the website back. So ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have. You don't have to worry about being scammed on Roblox anymore, is what I would say until literally a couple days later, a viewer sent me this DM here saying, did you know dailyrewards.ru can win you cool items and even premium every day? I'm 6 years old and I want free Roblox stuff. I'm going to dailyrewards.ru. I might be flagged as Mickey Mouse or something and Disney's gonna delete me. But when I go to dailyrewards.ru, it takes me to Microsoft Edging, where I can get Roblox Daily Rewards, which is a browser extension that has 3 out of 5 stars, 22 reviews, 2,000 plus users. Now, how does it work? Well, this extension will give you the ability to claim daily rewards every day on Roblox. And to claim your daily reward, simply click on the blue gift box button and note that you can only open a daily reward on Roblox every 24 hours. Yes, that's what daily means, but thank you for telling me. Now, if I click on see more, and the whole reason why I'm even talking about the description is that it says by adding this extension, it will automatically send a message to every Roblox conversation you have with a referral to the extension. This is a common courtesy we ask of you in exchange for the usage of our extension, seeing as it helps us promote it to a larger audience. If I was actually 6 years old, I would believe this. And it turns out the Microsoft employee that reviewed this whole entire browser extension might also have been 6 years old, so Microsoft with child labor or something, because they believed that this was completely fine and approved the extension. And speaking of which, the first question I had when I looked at this is, why is it on the Microsoft store? I mean, most people have Google Chrome. And the reason why is actually part of 2 of the 3 loopholes, which I'll explain later. Now, you know me, I'm a fucking nerd. And I could just completely nerd out and go through the code of this browser extension and explain how it all works, which I will do. But ladies and gentlemen, I think Christmas came early because I have a new Roblox alt account that I used to play Dress to Impress because I was so good on my main account I actually got banned because people thought I was cheating. I'm just that good at styling. Just kidding, my mom picks my clothes for me. So anyways, I'm just gonna see how this extension works by using it myself on Microsoft Edging. We have the browser extension. I'm going to add it to my browser, add extension. Nothing could ever go wrong. But if I go back to Roblox and I refresh the page, finally, free Roblox item. And when I click on the gift, it tells me that I need to wait a minute. While I'm waiting for a minute, I might as well go to my Roblox homepage and, share the strategies of killing it and Dress to Impress. And when I click on chat with no text to speech, nothing happens. You can hear my mouse. I'm pressing it very quickly. Nothing is happening. This is a really obvious clue on what's going on here. But anyways, if I click on the gift, I should, opening up an egg, underage gambling on Roblox. I've won the Dominus Vert. Vert is green in French. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, I won a Dominus. What is that? I don't play Roblox. I have no idea. But it's a Roblox item that I think is quite rare. And I want it completely for free. And when I click on anything, nothing happens. I guess I have to click on the X. But I should probably go to my inventory and figure out where it is. How do I do this? I'm a boomer. And ladies and gentlemen, as a surprise to absolutely no one, if I look in my inventory, I do not have the green Dominus. I got tricked. Now, the funny thing about this browser extension, it's basically a gift that keeps on giving, pun intended, I guess. But if you're a 6-year-old, you probably wouldn't realize that this was a scam, and you'd probably click on the GIF again because little brain goes for dopamine, and you'll notice that you need to wait 23 hours and 58 minutes to try again because it's daily rewards. So most 6-year-olds are going to leave this browser extension on their computer and just completely forget about it, which is the goal of the scam. But for me, as a functioning adult with a frontal lobe, I'm thinking, how did I get scammed? There's nothing telling me that I've been scammed. Regardless, it seems like this is just a troll extension. This whole video was a waste of my time. Might as well wrap it up here and call it a night, remove the Chrome extension, and pretend this never happened, is what I would say. But when I refresh the page, you'll notice that my chat magically comes back. And that's because when I was actually testing this browser extension on September 2nd, so it doesn't work right now, which I'll explain why later. But when I use this browser extension on this alt account when I was first testing this out, my account would randomly send the message, and absolutely nothing else happened with my Roblox account. So what's going on here? And yes, of course, we're gonna get to the part where I go super nerdy and explain what's going on by looking at the code of this browser extension. Now, I'm gonna copy the link to this browser extension and go to a website called robwu.nl/crxviewer. And what this allows you to do is view the source code of a browser extension, whether it be Chrome, Firefox, Edging add-ons, and this video is no, I'm kidding. So I'm gonna paste in this browser extension and open it in the viewer, and we get to look at the code behind this browser extension. Now, there's a whole bunch of things with like photos of rewards and the eggs and all that stuff, but we have 2 JavaScript files. We have a content.js and we have a background.js. And specifically looking at the content.js file, we have a lot of code to go through. The first half of the code is actually part of the whole entire scam, and then the rest of this code is talking about the gift reward. Now, if you actually go through this code and you read it, all it's doing is showing you an image saying, congratulations, you won this item, and nothing else. It doesn't add the item to your Roblox account. It just shows you an image. So yeah, fundamentally speaking, if you are just watching this to see if this browser extension is real or not, no. The code behind it is completely fake. It does not give you free stuff. All right, bye-bye all the 6-year-olds that were watching. Now I can start swearing more. So this gee willy gosh darn dang it Chrome extension is a scam, but the way that it works is interesting. Now, the way that it works is that it sends a message to every single person in your Roblox conversations. It has a function of sending messages to conversation IDs, which it just scrapes all the IDs of the conversations you had. And what this code does is it sends a request to Roblox's API. It basically tells Roblox's servers, hey, I want to send a message, and the message that I want to send is in this conversation ID, and what I want to send is the content of this variable request underscore message. So whatever this request underscore message equals is what your account will send when you run this browser extension. The logical thing to do would be pressing Control F and looking for a request message in the code, but since I have explained this code about 13 times already and I keep messing it up and wanting to commit very heinous war crimes, instead I'm scrolling exactly where I need to go. You can see that there's the variable request message and it equals to the response of all this garbage. To explain what this is, we need to look at the surrounding code. So what this code does is it goes to a website, games.roblox.com/v1/games?universe IDs equals, and then it adds on universe ID2, which is a variable, and it puts them together, so you have a very long link. But what is universe ID2? Oh, it's not much of a crazy question, because if you just look up variable universe ID2 equals this set of numbers here. So if I copy this and put it, no, I'm not calling this number, no. But if I put this number at the end of the URL, gamesroblox.com equals all this crap, I end up on this website here, which is, I'm going to call it the black data page, but it shows us a whole bunch of data. And the thing I want to point out that's important is that there is root place ID, which is this set of numbers. And if I copy this number and I go to roblox.com/games/ and I paste in that number and I press enter, it takes me to Samantha Johnson Place by Samantha Johnson Node. And if we pay attention to Samantha Johnson Node and we go back to the black data page, we can see that the creator of whatever this game is Samantha Johnson Node. So this black data page matches exactly what's on this page here. It's just in a format that code can use. So for example, the description is blank. And if we go to the page, the description is blank. You know, so far, I'm doing a good job at explaining it. It's better than the other 16 attempts that I tried. If we go back to the code, it is going to go to this website and look in the data array and look for the description. And it's going to turn that description into the request_message variable, which in this case equals absolutely fucking nothing. And since this is nothing, that is exactly why when I ran this Chrome extension, Microsoft Edging extension, that's why nothing happened. That's why I didn't send a message, because the message variable was blank. But here's the thing. Remember how we're looking at universe ID2? There's a universe ID1, which is this number here. Later on in the code, there is a function called check description, where it goes to the games.roblox.com page I talked about, but instead it goes to universe ID1, not number 2, number 1. So the code goes to this black data page, and if we copy this place ID and we go to the website, it leads to BloxFinder API Updater by BloxFinder Node. And we can see in the description it says apis.roblox.com/ a whole bunch of crap that is not even important to anything. And this matches exactly what's inside of the black data page in the description. And if we go back to the code, it goes to that website and it gets whatever is inside of the description. Now I want to point out, this web page is called Page Heartbeat V2. What does this do? It doesn't
There's good code, slow code, bad code, and broken code. Good code is good, we don't touch that. But for everything else, there's Sentry. Whether you're a mobile, back-end, front-end, or any end developer, we'll show you the environment, device, OS, even the commit that introduced an error, down to the broken line of code. If it's still unclear what happened, that's a bummer. But we can show you a video-like recreation of what your user saw when an error occurred, so you'll know exactly what went wrong. Yet the woes of a developer go far beyond when code is broken, it's also when code is slow. Detect endpoints, slow spans, and operations consuming the most time across your stack and keep everyone feeling not bad.
matter. It's like hocus pocus magic. We don't need to worry about it. But what the code will do is it will get that random API hocus pocus thing that doesn't matter, and it will put it inside of the Roblox webpage. Right now, this browser extension, as it is, when I'm looking through it, is completely worthless. It does nothing. It doesn't even scam you. But how are they going to turn this browser extension into a scam? Well, you might be thinking that they might just update the browser extension to a new version, which would then scam you and take all of your Robux. But that's not actually what would happen. Because if you update an existing extension on the Microsoft Edging website, after you update your extension, what will happen is when you click on publish, you're going to go through the certification process by Microsoft, where they're going to go through the code of your extension and see if it's malware. Usually. Again, we'll talk about Microsoft a little bit later. But on the Chrome Web Store, they do the exact same thing. If you have a new developer or a new extension, or you have dangerous numerous permission requests or you do significant code changes, Chrome will go through and review your extension. So what this means is that if the scammer behind this browser extension makes an update that now steals all your Robux or steals your Roblox account, then Microsoft Edging will catch that and take the extension off their website.
Mission failed. We'll get 'em next time.
But what if there was a way to change how the code works without changing the browser extension code itself? It sounds really impossible, but that is the ace up this code sleeve. It is the first loophole that it's exploiting. Because remember how I talked about the code on how it looks for a message inside of a Roblox description? Well, if Samantha Johnson Node changes the description to say hello, then that means that this code, instead of it being completely useless and doing absolutely nothing, now when you run the extension, it will spam every single conversation with the word hello. So the browser extension now spams people, but the code itself never changed, which means there will never be a review process by Microsoft or Google. And remember the Blocks Finder API updater with this random link that genuinely does remotely nothing? The reason why it's in the code is so that when the scammer wants to turn this browser extension into something that steals everything you have, all he has to do is just change the description of this Roblox game. And it usually goes to a website that has like a TXT file, so if you go to it, it'll show you the code directly, but this code will be malicious, and now whatever website you put in the description is now going to turn into HTML on the Roblox page, which will then probably turn it into a scam that I covered before, where it's like a bookmark that infects Roblox and shows you fake pop-ups to remove security features on your account, and it eventually steals your Roblox account. It'll follow in those same footsteps. But remember, they turned this browser extension into something evil without updating the extension. All they did was just change the description in a Roblox game. This only works if Roblox doesn't get a big heads up early about this page existing. And I'm pretty sure nothing has happened because Roblox is well aware. But I've given them another heads up if they needed it. So that was the first loophole that this scam abuses, but the second one, which I think is probably the first question you had, is why are they doing this in the Microsoft store? And well, the second loophole, this one is not much of a loophole, it's just taking advantage on how incompetent Microsoft is. And I don't know how it's not obvious to Microsoft that this is a scam, because if you scroll down, we have reviews by Luke and Jaden. And if we look for more add-ons from Blocks devs, my good golly, we got a ton of browser extensions. We have a browser extension to hide the chat, which seems pointless. Wow, this is so good by Luke. Jaden, best Roblox extension ever. We have Roblox Follow Bot, which fundamentally, this is an impossible thing to do. You can tell there are some people that have downloaded it and gave it 3 stars. But Luke and Jaden, baby, best Roblox extension ever. And I saved the best for last. Get a Dominus on Roblox, completely for free. Clickbait YouTube title. Yeah, you would not believe who reviewed this bad boy. Jaden and wait, Lucent? Luke? Lucent? Here's the thing, this Lucent character is actually someone that I've heard of before. In fact, in almost every single Roblox scam video I have made, I've talked about someone named Lucent Waves, who's also known as Blocks Devs, which is the people who are making these browser extensions, Vic Games, Motive Creations. It turns out this person is a very well-known scammer, and nothing is being done about this. I'm gonna have this linked in the description, but the lore on this dude is extensive. There are plenty of times this one single dude has scammed. They even got the Microsoft Edge extensions here. But yes, this dude is a chronic scammer. This is 100% going to turn into a scam. Yeah, don't worry, boys. It still exists on the Microsoft store. Microsoft's a fucking joke, I tell you. And let's get to the final loophole, because here's the thing. When I was reading through the Lucent Waves lore, which I already know way too much about, I also know the dude's wanted by the Canadian police, which is hilarious. But in the article, there is a reference to an archive.is page, which actually leads to the, yes, I'm not a robot, it leads you to the Microsoft Edge page. Now, loophole number 3, baby. This one's my favorite. If we scroll down to the reviews, we have Cyber saying this is just a virus that sends a message to like 40 people in your friends list. Don't get it. 1 star. A very helpful review that tells you exactly what is going on. And let's just copy this page that it's going to, so you know for a fact that I'm going to the exact same page. Roblox Daily Rewards. We scroll down to the reviews, and it is gone. The third loophole is that there is something seriously wrong with Microsoft's reviews on their extensions, because they can just magically get removed. Either this Lucent Waves Blocks devs guy is deleting the reviews, or they're abusing something to mass report a negative review to get it taken off their scam extension. There is a serious issue with Microsoft when valid reviews that are 100% true get taken off the scam extension that they still have on their website. This makes no sense to me. If there's a browser extension that you can only use on Microsoft and not on Google Chrome, I would stay away from it just by sheer premise on how they can't basic on the planet. Anyways, like I said, the dude behind this is wanted in Canada, so I'm gonna put on my Dog the Bounty Hunter cosplay and go outside for once. I'll see you in the battlefield, gamers. Bye-bye. I love you. Mwah.
Whether you are buying or selling, find your happy place with AutoTrader.
After the ban of social media in Nepal, a protest was planned by Gen Z on Discord. And that protest started off peacefully, but it eventually spiraled out of control. But it eventually resulted in Nepal's new prime minister being elected via Discord. Or so you thought. Because this is not what's going on. Things go way deeper. And really, this is a story about how Discord and other social media were used to expose corruption, organize a protest, keep people safe, and restore order to the country of Nepal. Now, I want to point out, I am a Discord YouTuber, not a history professional, so things might be a little inaccurate, but surprisingly, I'm going to be better than normal media, I think, because whenever you read the headlines about this Nepal situation, the news is like, Gen Z is so cooked, if they don't have their TikTok, they're gonna riot. No, this whole social media ban isn't the cause of it, it's just the straw that broke the camel's back, because you need to understand Nepal's history. The biggest problem in Nepal right now is the fact that everyday Nepalese citizens have no jobs. And do you either starve and die, or do you literally work wherever you can so you can survive? Now, your only option for survival in Nepal, if you cannot find a job, is being a foreign worker. You go to some random country, and you do the jobs that those people there don't want to do, which generally means they're the most shittiest, horrible jobs imaginable. And when you're desperate for a job, with desperation comes exploitation. I just wrote that down. I thought it was bars, so I needed to make sure I said that. Now, for all the football fans in the chat, it was revealed that 6,500 migrant workers have died in Qatar since the World Cup was awarded to them, because Qatar was this country that had nothing, and then they built this thing up with slave labor, and a whole bunch of people died. Now, in the description, I'm going to have a video by Vox Media that goes into a lot of detail about this, but they take away your passport, which means you can't leave the country, and the boss will also withhold the money you're getting paid. You cannot leave, and they will not pay you. This is modern-day slavery. And here's the thing, Nepal doesn't really have an option, because if you analyze charts, 33% of Nepal's GDP, their economy, is fueled by remittances, which is money that is sent from foreign workers into Nepal. Nepal relies on all these people doing these horrible jobs to keep the country afloat. And what this has resulted in is that the average income is $1,400 for a year. So to put it simply, people are struggling in Nepal. And you see this dude, he's also struggling. He's struggling to become Nepal's next top influencer. Now here's the thing, Nepal is a very corrupt country, and usually when it comes to government corruption, you have to look at these old wrinkled testicles and be like, yeah, this guy doesn't look rich enough to afford plastic surgery to make him look like a reptile in a skin suit. You know, it's hard to tell how corrupt these people are. But then the magic of TikTok, Instagram, and clout chasing became the norm. This is a kid of one of the Nepalese politicians. He's got a tacky watch on, and these god-awful, ugly in shoes. This dude's whole entire fit is probably $20,000, and he just ends up looking like a twink that goes to Oxford or something. Like, this is definitely bottom energy that I'm getting from this. So really worth the money. This dude posted this on Instagram. He's like, yeah, daddy gave me money, and look at this Christmas tree. The amount of boxes on this Christmas tree is probably like $40,000 worth of shit. So that's basically how much money you'd make if you worked until you died in Nepal. Now, it turns out our little Oxford twink here isn't the only person that is being exposed on the internet, because it turns out Nepal's citizens launched a hashtag of #NepoKids, where people started sharing everything all these government kids would do. Oh my goodness, she's doing a TikTok dance. That's not slavery. What are you doing? There's this government kid, Bali tour, ATV private helicopter tour. Oh my gosh. Look at all these places we're going to. It's so fun with my dad. And there are even TikTok profiles and Instagram profiles that focus on all of these Nepo kids from Nepal. Like this person here who has a 22,000 Great British Pounds Hermes bag. Get ready with me. The car meet 2.0. Everyone else in Nepal is like, get ready with me. Going to die on the FIFA construction project 2.0. And my favorite part about this is that these people are constantly being exposed, and when you try looking up their Instagram profiles, you can't find any of their accounts because they deleted it or privated it. These guys have no shame. So while they're hiding all their accounts, we have this one chick here who decided, oh my gosh, I can get popular off this. And that's right, Looney Tunes. Yes, I wish there was a plan B involved in this birth. But the internet does what the internet does best. Hold on, that's a spoiler for what's coming up next. They said she looked like Fiona. And while all these rich kids are getting cyberbullied on the internet, they started banning social media. Now, the thing that a lot of people get wrong about this is that this social media ban isn't a direct cause and effect of this Nepo Kids campaign. In fact, for months, the Nepalese government has been trying to push their new social media bill. Now, this bill has two purposes. One of them is to get more money from these social media companies. They will force social media platforms like Instagram and YouTube to have an office in Nepal. And the whole point is that if they make money, they get taxed by the government through their digital services tax and their value-added tax rules, aka more money for government. And then that money would go to the Instagram kids, so I guess it's just a full circle at this point. But the second point of this bill, which is way more controversial, is for supervision and monitoring. And it is the most corrupt and blatant version of censorship in a bill I have seen. But just to give you a little sample, conditions that need to be followed by the social media companies are to ensure that the platform does not disseminate content that harms Nepal's sovereignty, territorial integrity, national security, national unity, independence, dignity or national interest, or that incites social, cultural, or religious disharmony, aka a protest. This is basically if the government doesn't like what someone is posting, you are forced to take it down. And they try to make it seem like a good bill where it's like they don't allow you to do cyberbullying, which, by the way, if you do cyberbully, you can go to jail for 2 years, or you can get a fine of 300,000 Nepalese rupees, or 3 lakh. Oh, and by the way, that whole Nepo Kids tag where you're figuring out and looking at people's social media, that is considered cyber stalking. Now, who would have thunk it, boys? But all the other social media companies are like, go f yourself. So they ban social media. Now, a lot of the slop news networks are like, the Gen Z can't survive without their TikToks. They're going crazy. They're lighting cars on fire. But social media in Nepal is used not only to expose this corruption with those Nepo kids and the Oxford twink, but it's also a place to find jobs. Instead of working for slavery, you have another option of working online. And when you ban social media, there's a chance that you just took away a whole bunch of Gen Z people's jobs. And then we return back to square one, where you need to work to make money to survive, and you either die or do you fight back?
Increase the health promotion levy on sugary drinks. Sign the petition on healer.org.
Now, this is Sudan Garung, name on the screen because I can't pronounce shit. But this guy is an ex-DJ. What happened is that in 2015, he had a son that died in the Nepal earthquakes. And from there on out, he started a non-government organization, an NGO called Hami Nepal, which is We Nepal. And he wanted to start a protest on September 8th, where Gen Z would stand up and say, enough is enough. Our country is corrupt and we are going to fight. Now, the interesting thing about this protest is that it's not centralized.
So do not think that the Hami Nepal is taking the lead. You guys are taking the lead. We are just organizing and managing the protest so that you can be safe.
But to organize these protests, they did it in Gen Z fashion. They used the femboy furry-filled chat app Discord.
Welcome to the official Discord server of Youth Against Corruption.
Now, despite people's anger of these Nepo kids having a Christmas tree that is greater than the net worth of someone in Nepal, despite how f***ed up that is, they want to keep everything peaceful.
And I don't want anyone to be unsafe. Please make sure that you are safe. I know the anger is there. The frustration is there. But we need to be wise.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is time to start the protests. On September 8th, the protests started off very peacefully. People marching down the streets, showing that they will not stand for corruption any longer. They want to reform this country. And the interesting thing I want to point out is that throughout these protests, everyone has a phone. This dude is on the back of a bike, double phoned up for redundancy. He's got 2 But as you can see, things, they were peaceful at first, but they started to get a little bit more rowdy. People are arguing with some of the police. Tensions are escalating. In fact, there's this one video of this dude trying to hit a brick at a traffic light, and either he is the weakest dude I've ever seen or he's hesitant. You can see he's holding back his punches because he's not really sure. He's like, am I supposed to be doing this? And the answer is no. Because according to an article by Al Jazeera, they have a quote saying, during the first few hours, the protest went as planned until some external forces and political party cadres joined in on the protest and agitated the armed forces and pelted stones. But there's people jumping into government property, climbing over walls to hit trees with sticks, but then also when the police showed up, they would start trying to scrap with the police. But the people that are doing this sort of destruction and causing this havoc, there's theories all over the internet, and there's a ton of misinformation as well. But there's theories of this being government entities, people paid by external governments meant to destabilize Nepal. These could be opportunists trying to make things worse for their own political gain, or this could just be people angry and trying to get a way to get their anger out. There's no exact answer on what happened, but this was not part of the protest. Because during the protest, people started getting more and more rowdy. Then the police started throwing out tear gas to disperse crowds, and that escalated further and further. People would throw tear gas back, throw rocks at the police, and eventually the police brought out water cannons to disperse crowds. But things only get worse. And the problem here is that it's not the police trying to de-escalate the riots. They're just bringing out more and more weaponry because they start bringing out rubber bullets. Now, rubber bullets are meant as less lethal. They are still considered lethal. So you need to be careful where you hit someone with these, because if you hit them in anywhere sensitive, it genuinely could be lethal. And there's a video here which I am going to pause because if I play the video, it is not allowed on YouTube. But you can see there's this dude here and there are police at the fence. And this guy, he gets domed by a rubber bullet. But the second there was that loud bang from the rubber bullet being shot and this dude hitting the ground, the protest turned into a flat-out riot. But then the police escalated it one more time. They used real bullets. This is just a guy in his school uniform. He's in a small crowd. He's not even at the front lines of the riot. He's not causing any damage. And seconds later, he's just dropped. The police were firing indiscriminately within the crowd and all hell broke loose. It wasn't like a war zone out there. It was a war zone. Now, I can't show you exactly what I'm going to talk about, but there are videos of people that are fatally wounded. There's a video of this one young adult in backpack and school outfit being carried by his hands and feet, and people are rushing and screaming ambulance to try and get help for this dude, but it is clearly way too late. And even if he made it to the hospital, things wouldn't be better, because according to a BBC article talking about this, they had a quote from an official of one of the hospitals, and they said that tear gas entered the hospital, making it difficult for doctors to work on any of the injured patients. The hospitals are just a complete clusterfuck. And throughout that whole entire day, no one was talking on Discord because the chaos just happened so fast that people didn't know what to do. But there was an announcement made. Today, our nation witnessed the unthinkable. Students still in their school uniforms were brutally killed. We came together for a peaceful protest, yet the government has shown that instead of listening to the voice of its youth, it would rather silence us with violence. Everyone in Nepal now knew that the police did the unthinkable. And with resignations of the Home Minister, in the evening, the government eventually lifted the social media ban. Now again, if this was all just about social media, this protest would be over. But it's about corruption, and it's not just about corruption anymore. There is a bigger problem, and the Discord server foreshadowed what would happen next. This protest is no longer just about corruption. It's about demanding accountability for the innocent lives that were lost today. A government that fails to protect its people has no right to govern this country. Our agenda has shifted. This is now bigger than corruption. It is not merely a fight against corruption. It's a fight for our nation itself. Our demands are clear and non-negotiable. First, the immediate resignation of the government. Second, the resignation of all ministers across every province. Third, swift and uncompromised prosecution of those who ordered the shooting of our innocent brothers and sisters. And fourth, the formation of an interim government led by the youth with a vision for a just and accountable future. This is not just a demand, this is the voice of a generation, and it will not be silenced. Now again, the point of these protests are to be peaceful, but people who wanted to cause damage, the opportunists, the people that wanted to get their anger out, they started using Discord to communicate calls for violence. They wanted to target 2 government offices. People saying to burn the offices down, and someone said even to attack the airport. Now, the airport is an important part of the story because the Prime Minister and other politicians were fleeing to the airport, and in the Discord server, people were organizing attacks on the airport. Destroy destroy the airport runways and burn down planes. Guys, if you have fireworks, please use them near the airport. If you have a drone, please fly it at every international and domestic airport. Kill all politicians. Bro, just burn everything. The Discord server is in complete anarchy, and there's people saying, guys, come home, stop the protest, enough is enough. Peacefully return, step back and go home. More violence isn't going to make things better. And the important thing you need to take away from this is that the Discord server, these people's messages are what's going on in people's heads. And with all this anger, on September 9th, a new protest was being formed. This is not a moment to stand aside. This is a moment to rise. Today, we gather again, shoulder to shoulder, voices as one. And the protest was to take place in Meitagar. I'm white as white bread. I'm going to mispronounce that. I apologize. But at 11 p.m., a sit-down, peaceful protest. Except there was another announcement. Police are currently blocking access to Meitagar. If you are planning to join the peaceful sit-down protest now, we are closely monitoring the situation and will update you as soon as possible. But things got worse. There was an emergency alert that they have confirmed reports of a shoot-on-site order in the Meitagar area. A shoot-on-site order for the peaceful protest. But with the accumulation of people being angry about corruption, the death of 19 people in the protest, the emotions boiled over and all hell broke loose. Because today was arson day. There's even videos of people putting gasoline on tires to set them on fire, and they almost blow themselves up. There's videos of people going inside of buildings while there's a fire in the building. And while all hell is breaking loose, in the Discord server, they're trying to contain the protest and trying to simmer things down. Everyone, do not burn any government office. Burning government offices means burning corruption files. It's clear that this protest has been hijacked by people that want to cause destruction. But then we get some good news. Because an announcement was made that KP Oli, the Prime Minister, has officially resigned from his post.
The youth has won the protest, won over the country. The future is ours. I really want to thank every one of you, and we are still safe here.
The problem, though, is that the riots still continued. Because remember in the Discord server, they wanted to attack the politicians. There's videos of politicians being run down in the street, and they chased some dude into the river and kept chasing him while he was in the river. And do you remember Fiona, who was taking all these selfies? Yes, queen. Well, unfortunately, her yes, queen energy died down because her dad got stripped naked in the riots and dragged out of his house. Yes, queen, that thong looks so good on you, honey. And while this is happening, Hami Nepal in the Discord server is pinging everyone, pleading them to stop. The government has already fallen. It's time to back off and end the destruction. Every act of violence and every life lost only brings more pain. And in the end, we will be the ones who suffer and rebuild. Please stop this madness. But the madness did not stop. There's videos of people breaking into police buildings. This dude dressing as a policeman, kicking his feet up on the desk. In fact, there's this video of this dude driving a motorcycle into a fire outside of a police station, which was probably a stolen motorcycle. In fact, there's videos of people stealing vehicles and then partying on top of them. They even stole an excavator and then paraded it down the street. But the damage and destruction didn't just start at the police stations and the government buildings. It continued on with people setting prisons on fire. In fact, there were 13,500 prisoners that escaped during these riots. The people that are causing this damage are trying to make the initial point of the protest. And with all of the chaos going on, we have people stealing anything and everything. Food, tools, toys, and there's some... I just saw this, I had to throw it in here, but there's some dude with an RGB mini bike who stole this. A lot of people are just taking advantage of the chaos for their own personal gain. Except that wasn't everyone. There's videos of other Nepalese citizens that are protesting, telling other people to put it back. In fact, there's a video of this dude who stole a whole bunch of appliances and a TV, and he got slapped and punished by a whole bunch of people. Real people who wanted the best for Nepal saw the irony of you can't fight corruption with corruption by stealing from companies. And everyone that was doing this was constantly being recorded because everyone had a cell phone, which is important for later. But then also there was people who were just recording themselves stealing because it was funny. There were kids who went into a school and stole laptops, but it's an HP laptop, so it literally isn't even worth your time stealing. That thing is a piece of There's people stealing cars and then almost running people over and then getting a new car and crashing it into a pile of garbage because yes. But then there was also old people who broke into a jewelry store to try and get their payday 2 fix in, I guess. There's videos of people breaking into banks and stealing money. In fact, there's this one video of this kid flexing the money that he stole. He's doing the net spend dance. Life imitates art. There was a luxury hotel in the area, the Hilton Hotel, and people broke into the luxury hotel. And this is like the weirdest thing I have ever seen. But you have all this damage and destruction, and then you get to the very top, and it's just this uber luxury rooftop pool and bar. It is like the wealth disparity is nuts. And then they decided to loot a whole bunch of alcohol. And that was a very common thing. There's a lot of people just stealing alcohol, but where things get really bad is that there are videos of people walking off with looted guns that they got from the police station. There's videos of people parading down the street with guns. There's videos of people who have guns, but clearly have no idea how to use them safely. There's people shooting guns while on the back of motorbikes. And when you have 13,500 inmates breaking free from jail, you have alcohol everywhere and a bunch of guns everywhere with a whole bunch of angry people, it is genuinely a miracle that there wasn't a massacre in Nepal. But of course, this whole protest started because of those Gen Z kids wanting to be influencers. And while all this destruction is happening, this dude has got to get that Instagram photo of him being absolutely jacked. He looks so tough. But going back to the Discord server was meant to organize the protest, but also meant to keep people safe from the violence of the riots. Because there was announcements made like an emergency alert. Everyone return back immediately from Chabahil. Again, white bread, I cannot pronounce this properly. There's a major security breach in the area. If any of our Gen Z brothers and sisters are there, please go home at once. Your safety comes first. Do not take the risks. And just as things were looking horribly sour, again, guns everywhere, angry people, alcohol, a recipe for disaster, there was one more announcement that came in that started to change the tide of this riot. At everyone, Sudan Garung has spoken with the chief, the army chief, and we have allocated the army for the rescue. The roads are severely blocked and extremely difficult to pass for the army. Without open routes, rescue operations cannot reach the people who need them the most. We urgently need every possible hand to help clear the roads. Only then can the army personnel reach the affected areas with critical support. This is not the time to stand aside. Your effort today can save countless lives. So Discord is now being used as a way to restore peace. Now, the thing with this announcement that you need some context on is that usually when you think the army going in to stop a protest, you usually think it's a bad thing. It's going to escalate and things are going to get worse. But the thing with the Nepali army is that they are very well respected in Nepal. And considering that the army chief vowed to protect citizens and urge protesters to pursue a peaceful resolution,
be in the game.
for all of the confusion and chaos, there was finally some sort of direction. The army was going to come in and calm things down. And that's exactly what happened. On September 10th, if you went outside, there were army forces that were out patrolling the streets. If you needed help, you'd call for the army and they would help you out. People were clearing out roads, allowing the army to come in. There was also news articles where 27 people were arrested for looting, arson, destructive activities. They recovered burnt money. Like, this is a crazy photo, but it's literally money that is burnt from the arson attacks. They recovered guns and even more guns. There's other news reports of 73 weapons being recovered and 303 of those escaped inmates being captured. At this point, the riots have died down and we avoided the worst possible outcome. And on September 10th, this was the day the Discord poll happened. So, to give you some context, there was a 5-hour discussion on Discord. They had a Discord stage where a whole bunch of people were chatting in it, and it wasn't just in Discord, it was also being live streamed on YouTube and other social media platforms. A lot of Gen Z was aware of this Discord server and these negotiations happening. But then there was a poll that was released with the question, who now? Now, the thing that like most media messes up is people think this is an election for the new president. Like, forgive me, my thumbnail is a little bit clickbaity, but people think it's like a Discord poll to pick the new prime minister. But this is actually a poll to pick a representative for Gen Z because the army and the government wanted to meet with someone that would understand the frustrations of Gen Gen Z. And out of the poll, we have the options of Shushila Karki, who was chosen, a couple other people, and most notably, Random Nepali. Now, when I first read this, I thought they just meant literally anyone. Everyone sucks in terms of being a politician. They just wanted some random Nepali dude. Turns out he's actually a YouTuber. It'd be hilarious, though, if it was just like, yeah, just pick some random dude off the street. But on Discord, they chose Shushila Karki to be the representative. Now, it's not just the Discord poll that chose this woman, because Shushila Karki was well respected by a lot of Gen Z already. She's someone who was the former Chief Justice. She has plenty of cases where she fought corruption and inequality. She was very much considered the person to solve this problem, and she was generally pretty politically neutral. For most people in Nepal, it was universally agreed that she would be the person that has the skill set to get done. So she was chosen as the representative for Gen Z to help solve these issues. But with Shushila being chosen, would things improve? And on September 11th, Hami Nepal made a final post saying, "This is our final warning to the president. The decision-making process has already taken far too long, and we are now at a critical stage of now or never. Any further delays risk catastrophic consequences." Remember, the army has stepped in to restore peace, but nothing has really changed except the prime minister stepping down. And our man here, he had his whole entire story arc, to be completely honest, because what he did next is he officially entered the government building to restore peace and get what Gen Z wanted. But when he entered the government building, he wasn't just met with open arms, "Yay, let's fix everything." No, instead, he has been waiting in the government office for 9 hours because the president has not yet arrived. They aren't taking things seriously, and Sudang's stance is clear. He will not speak with staff or intermediaries. He will only meet directly with the president, and he refuses to do any one-on-one discussion. And from there, he started his protest. Sudang Garung has taken a stand. He will not leave the government building until Gen Z team is allowed to stand with him in a meeting with the president. He has vowed that he will not move until Nepal has a new prime minister. He will not drink even a drop of water from the government building, and his fast has begun. He was not going to leave the government building, and he was going to starve himself if it meant peace for Nepal. Then comes September 12th. It happened. All the associated VIPs, security personnel, and diplomats have entered the government building to swear in a new prime minister. After that, the parliament was dissolved, and finally, Shushila Karki, the person who won the Discord poll, eventually got inaugurated as the interim prime minister. And her goal is to remain the prime minister until the true elections in March 2026. But they finally have someone at the helm of the government that is meant to stop corruption and work in Gen Z's best interests. But that doesn't mean everything is fixed. There are still permanent damages that were a consequence of these protests and riots. People still at the end of the day lost their lives. But the Youths Against Corruption Discord server had one final purpose. They had a channel called the Protest Log, and the point of this channel is to collect photos and videos from past protests to help identify and take action against those who did wrong. For example, there's this video of this dude just running and flipping a street vendor's food. Hey, at least his shirt says art creation. In fact, some of these are just perfect Gen Z material. Like, just watch this video, for example. Like, they literally have a meme song. It's beautiful. But for the people that want the best in Nepal, they are actively going through and getting videos of people looting, stealing, setting things on fire, and trying to publicly shame them and figure out who they are so that Nepal has justice. Not only is Nepal's Gen Z trying to stop corruption of the government, but they also want to punish the people who did wrong to their country to make Nepal as a country stronger. But anyways, gamers, for now, that's all I got, and hopefully I did a good job at like explaining everything in a way so it doesn't just boil down into they banned the TikTok and now the kids rioted. But of course, please look in the comments because there will be people that will clarify things, maybe some corrections, their own personal stories. But that's all I got, gamers. Bye bye, I love you. Mwah! Ruben Sim is a Roblox YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers, and he made a Discord bot called Row Cleaner. Now, Row Cleaner was meant to protect people on Discord from Roblox predators. Yet, Discord banned the bot, and people are rightfully outraged, saying that Discord is protecting Roblox predators. But it turns out there's a bit more to this story, and there's another Discord bot that might have caused this all to happen. Now, the Row Cleaner bot specifically targets Roblox condos, and if you don't know, Roblox condos are basically Roblox games. And this is happening on Roblox, a game meant for kids. So kids are being exposed to this stuff because predators or even other teenagers will groom kids into playing these games. And it's such a massive problem that Roblox is constantly taking down these games. In fact, Roblox takes down these games so often that there are Discord servers that are dedicated to sharing links to condo games. So now you have a Discord server filled with predators or teenagers that are willingly grooming kids into playing games. And the way that this Row Cleaner bot works is that if you join one of these Discord condo servers, the bot will flag you as someone that plays on Roblox condos, and it will put you in a list. And if you use the Row Cleaner bot on your server, it is going to ban every single person in that list from your server. So the point of this bot is twofold. It's meant to protect your community from potential Roblox predators, but this bot is also meant to discourage teenagers from joining these Roblox condo servers because they know if they join the server, they're going to get banned off 23,000 servers that have Row Cleaner. And what that does is it stops those curious teenagers from potentially becoming victims to Roblox predators. So overall, this is a pretty good tool. And Discord, like I said, decided to take it down. Now, this is a tweet from Rubinsim talking about how his bot got banned. Rather than take down the Roblox game servers that blatantly violate Roblox and by extension Discord's terms of service, Discord has banned Row Cleaner for profiling Discord users based on protected characteristics. Apparently, being in a Roblox server is a protected characteristic, and we're not allowed to give owners of kid-friendly servers a tool to ban these people, and our appeal was denied. Rubinsim then points out that just a day ago, news broke that a 27-year-old Californian man kidnapped a 10-year-old girl that he through Roblox and Discord. Rubinsim alleges that Discord is not only facilitating use, but they're also taking action against developers working to prevent it. And thanks to Discord, members of over 23,000 Discord servers previously protected by Row Cleaner are now vulnerable to over 600,000 potential predators that they spent 4 months tracking. Now, before I dive deeper into why Discord took down Row Cleaner and whether or not it was justified and how we even got here in the first place, I want to point out that just by itself, Discord taking down a bot meant to protect kids is disgusting. But to make things even worse, those Discord condo servers that the bot was monitoring, they still exist on Discord. Discord has a feature called Discovery, where people can advertise their Discord servers, and there's a whole bunch of rules that people need to follow to be in Discord's Discovery feature, except when you search for condos, there are tons and tons and tons and tons of Roblox condos. And it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to figure out what these games are about, especially with this very recognizable logo and having Roblox with 3 X's at the end. We have games for a children's video game being advertised on Discord's own Discovery feature. Discord is allowing this to happen. So Discord banned a tool that was meant to stop these condo servers, which have predators on them, but they didn't ban the servers that are run by the predators. And I want to point out that I actually made a video talking about this previously, but in that video, I showed a couple of servers. These servers are still up, by the way. Like, taking a look at this Discord server, if I click on it and I use a plugin to right-click the server and view the server's info, we can see that this Roblox condo Discord server, which is owned by this dude, was created on June 20th, 2023. This server is almost 2 years old. And that's not even the worst one. There's Heaven Condo. I've seen that one in a video. I specifically talked about how this photo goes hard as fuck. But despite that, I go to server info. This server was created November 11th, 2021. This server has almost been up for 4 years. There is no excuse that Discord can have. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, looking in the main general channel and seeing I'm 15 and this year 16, it's clear to see that these servers are a problem. I also want to point out that I have spent like the last 5 minutes looking through this chat, and these people are depraved goon addicts. And I just want to remind everyone that if you see a Discord server with messed up messages in the general channel, the DMs are even worse. Now, in my opinion, and from what I've seen, these young people will eventually get into thinking that this stuff is okay, and eventually when they become adults, or maybe still as a teenager, they make their own condo Discord server, and they in return younger kids, and the cycle of abuse just continues and continues. So at what point will Discord stop this? It's not hard for a Discord employee to type in condos and just ban every single server. So why is Discord ignoring this problem. These condo Discord servers, when you click on them, you will notice that they are boosted on Discord. This Discord server has 84 boosts. And with boosts being $5 a pop, this is $400 worth of boosts a month. Discord is making money off of these servers existing. And that's just one server, by the way. We click on this one here. How many boosts do they have? 306. Okay, I don't even need to click on any other ones because holy that is $1,500 a month for a Roblox game. This is egregious. This is disgusting. While this row cleaner bot gets banned, those condo servers are still up, making Discord buckets of money every single month. That's what I'm mad about. But let's get back to just analyzing what's going on. So looking back at Ruben Sim's tweet, we're going to see why Discord banned the bot. Discord is focused on maintaining a safe and secure environment for our community. Discord is saying that while we're looking at a condo server that is making $1,500 a month for Discord, and they allow minors. They say, oh, minors must stay in safe for work monitor channels only. Do you guys trust Roblox gooners to actually protect kids? You know, people playing games on a kid's game? I don't. But Discord banned Row Cleaner for two specific reasons, and I'm going to focus on the second one first, because the first reason is, to put it simply, batshit insane. So instead, we're gonna warm ourselves up with the second ban reason. In Discord's developer policy, they broke the rule of do not use the APIs in any way to violate or enable or promote others to violate the deadlines. Prohibited behaviors and activities include, but are not limited to, those that they have a whole list of things, but they specifically point out enable, promote, or organize any type of on or off platform harassment. So Discord is saying that Row Cleaner is harassing people. Now, there is some merit to this claim, because if you look through Ruben's YouTube videos, he, in his appeal process, requires people to handwrite their appeals and include a nice picture. And he will post these on Twitter for people to look at or in videos. Could this be seen as harassment? Completely. And to further explain how this potentially could be harassment, Rubenson made a tweet where he recorded someone making their row cleaner ban. He made people talk in a Discord voice call.
To whom it may concern, I'm writing to formally address an error regarding the ban imposed on my account.
Now, I'm not going to bullshit you, but I'm pretty sure the word Canadian was added because this person sounds like they are from India. And not going to lie, as someone who is a Canadian, this person who was talking easily could be Canadian. We have a lot of Indian immigrants. It is normal. So I don't know why that had to be included specifically, but I do want to point out, I think the most important thing is the fact that this person clearly sounds like a teenager. So it's not far of a reach for Discord to say that Ruben Sim is harassing minors. And that's about as far as Discord's rationality goes, because this is where gets even crazier and insane. But according to Discord, the main reason why Row Cleaner got banned is because you're not supposed to use API data to profile Discord users, their identities, or their relationships with other users to discriminate against any protected characteristics, or for eligibility considerations for benefits or for purposes such as employment, housing, insurance, or otherwise. Now, since Row Cleaner isn't doing employment or housing, we can ignore that part. So Row Cleaner was banned because it discriminated against anyone based on protected characteristics. Now, I went through Discord's developer policy and I figured out exactly what their protected characteristics are. Protected characteristics at Discord encompass various aspects. Legally speaking, when you say various aspects, that kind of means you can pull anything out of your ass. What Discord says, examples such as age, caste, color, disability, ethnicity, family responsibilities, gender, gender identity, housing status, national origin, race, refugee or immigration status, religious affiliation, serious illness, sex, sexual orientation, socioeconomic class and status, source of income, status as a victim of domestic abuse, sexual violence or stalking, as well as weight and size. You're telling me that banning Roblox files off your Discord server is considered discriminating a protected characteristic? What the is Discord smoking here? Are they saying that liking kids is a sexual orientation that you can't prevent people from doing? You know what? My source of income is actually scamming old people. If I said, oh, Discord banned me unfairly because they discriminated against my source of income, which is stealing. If I said that, I would feel ashamed of myself, trying to use that as some sort of excuse to justify the fact that I'm a piece of shit. And Discord is saying, oh, you're a Roblox file. You know what? That's a protected characteristic at Discord. Do you see how much of a bullshit reach that Discord is pulling here? And given the fact that they're saying this while those Roblox condo servers are still up, the only thing that I can genuinely think of is that someone at Discord thinks that Roblox condos are okay. Discord is labeling file as protected characteristic, which is just insane. This isn't discrimination. This is keeping people that will put your Discord members at harm, keeping them away from your server. You would assume Discord would maybe turn a blind eye to this. And the interesting thing is that they have turned a blind eye to other Discord bots breaking the terms of service. Because there's a Discord bot called Me6, which everyone hates because Me6 has broken Discord's developer policy a handful of times. Their most egregious example is that Me6 sent out unsolicited marketing to users because they started sending people in DMs advertisements to vote for them on top.gg. And you didn't have to use the bot, it was just out of nowhere. And if you read through Discord's developer policy, it violated their do not target users with advertisements or marketing. Me6 also ran an NFT scam, which totaled $3 million. And you would assume, Discord would take him out to the back of the barn and just get rid of the bot. No. In fact, the furthest punishment that Me6 ever got is Me6 got unverified temporarily because Discord was mad at it and Me6 needed to fix something. Discord gave Me6 a warning. But what about Ruben Sim's row cleaner bot? And to answer that, I hopped on a call with Ruben Sim, but there's a Discord bot called Me6. They've also done things that completely violate Discord's terms of service, but Discord has always kind of turned a blind eye to it, whereas here it seems like there's no lenience.
Yeah, it's weird because the bot was huge. We were in 23,000 servers. I think it's crazy that we weren't even given a little bit of lenience for anything. And I think it's clear that they just don't like me and they don't like what I'm doing for whatever reason. I mean, they don't have to do this. They could just let us do our thing. I mean, at the end of the day, we're helping them. We're making their platform safer. We're stopping cases of and predation that could go on to make the news and end up on a senator's desk who's considering a law on internet safety that could harm Discord's business ventures. So we're at the end of the day, we're helping them, and they could just let us do our thing, but instead they've chosen to bend their terms of service as far as they can to say that we're violating it. Honestly, I kind of saw this coming because row cleaner worked a little too well. The condo community was so pissed off. They were so upset about it. I had people who were trying to swat me. I had people who were trying to send pizzas to my house over this bot. I got a lot of death threats. I got threats over it. It was very clear that we were making a lot of enemies in this, what's basically a criminal underground. And I figured that these people would stop at nothing to get the bot taken down. And Discord has effectively allowed that to happen.
And while chatting with Ruben Sim, he told me about another Discord bot that he had. And to be honest, I think this bot is the reason why Row Cleaner got banned in the first place.
So on April Fool's, I made a Twitter post saying that I was going to make a version of Row Cleaner that would ban furries. And this was a joke. Obviously, it's on April Fool's, but I started to think about it, and I thought, what if we created something like that, but we made it a tool for the furry community and not against the furry community? And instead of banning furries, we only had it target furries that were in furry porn servers. So a lot of furries, they take issue with people sexualizing the fan base. And so the idea was that Fur Cleaner would be a tool for these furries to keep the weirdos out of their servers.
Now, this Fur Cleaner bot worked exactly like Row Cleaner. You can see from the scan, we have this person here who is in the known server Fluffy Den. And if I scroll down a little bit more, Pokemon Breeders Association. Jesus Christ, guys. But with this Fur Cleaner bot coming out, this is where Discord started to put this ban in motion, in my opinion. If you go on Google and you spend less than a minute, you can find tweets of Ruben Sim saying stuff like, I unironically hate furries. They're disgusting addicts, they're annoying, and they groom children. If I were president, I'd establish FEMA camps to have them all rounded up and ground up into dog food, and they'd probably like it. Now, whether this is satire or just outright hate, it makes sense that a big company like Discord would completely avoid this and not touch it with a 10-foot pole. Discord, as a company, is going to play it safe. Looking at this tweet and looking at Discord's developer policy where they say you're not allowed to promote or organize or enable any sort of on or off platform harassment, seeing this tweet and seeing a Discord bot called Fur Cleaner, it's pretty clear why Discord wouldn't like this, and the bot did get banned off Discord. The ironic thing, though, is the fact that the same Row Cleaner bot has existed on Discord for 2.5 months, banning 600,000 people across 23,000 Discord servers. Discord, to be honest, they turned a blind eye to it. They sort of let this stuff go because there was a benefit to it. We're stopping Roblox predators. Except when this Fur Cleaner bot started getting announced around April 13th, 9 days later, both of the bots are shut down. But this starts raising some questions. Is Discord being biased towards furries? Is this Discord just playing it safe given Ruben Sim's background with furries? We'll never get a yes or no answer by Discord on that, but I do want to point out that Discord has had some controversies in the past regarding favoritism towards furries, specifically cub content. Now prepare yourself, this is Discord's dark side they never want people to know. 6 years ago, Discord was all over the internet and all over the news for furry corruption. That's a great way of putting it. But you see, Discord changed their community guidelines to specifically target altered adult content which depicts minors. So this includes Shotacon or Lolicon, or Loli for short, which are drawings of young girls or boys in suggestive scenarios. This is disgusting and Discord rightfully banned it off their platform. Except if you are deep in the furry community or you are just cursed with internet knowledge, there's something missing in here because there's something called cub content. And cub content is what the furry fandom refers to as explicit material, so again, adult content, depicting underage animal-like characters. So this is basically Loli, but just the furry version of it. So you would assume if Discord bans Loli and Shotacon content, if you report cub content to Discord, Discord would be like, oh, yeah, that's kind of the same thing. They're both equally disgusting. Let's take it off our platform. Instead, a Discord employee responded to this person's report saying, generally speaking, we do not consider cub content to be a violation of our terms or guidelines on its own. That being said, you should be aware that such content can be considered shocking for some. Considering they said can be considered shocking for some is just disgusting. It shows you how mentally far gone this whole entire thing was. The person saying this is a Discord staff member who was a furry. Underage furry? That's okay. Underage anime girl? Oh, that's disgusting. How dare you? So with Row Cleaner being completely untouched by Discord, ignored by Discord, until he made a furry bot, is this, again, the same sort of controversy and favoritism coming into play? It's hard to tell. If you had a bot that just banned people that were in servers and you just called it the anti-gooner bot or something, would that get the same punishment as Fur Cleaner? Because you're removing the furry aspect.
I think so. And I wouldn't think so if Fur Cleaner were the only bot that were banned, but they banned Row Cleaner as well. What I'm thinking is this probably relates to Fur Cleaner because Discord staff, they see furryism as a protected class. They see furries as like a group of people that you can't discriminate against. But I didn't even bother appealing for Fur Cleaner. I only appealed the ban on Row Cleaner, and they said no. They rejected the appeal. They still believe that our app, Row Cleaner, is discriminating against people for looking at Roblox. And I think that they're saying that if we're banning people for jacking off to Roblox, that's basically the same thing as discriminating against someone for their sexual orientation. And that's fucking crazy. That's so like if we specifically ban pedophiles, is that discrimination? Like, where do you draw the line?
But that's not the end of the story, because there's still another reason for the Row Cleaner bot being taken down that you haven't seen. Because as I was talking to Ruben Sim in the call, he told me that he got another email from Discord. And this is all the stuff we looked at before, but they also point out.
They said, in addition, the reports also indicated that user requests to delete their data were not being executed. As a reminder, as further described in Section 5B of our Developer Terms of Service, you have an obligation to delete API data when requested by the applicable users or when you stop operating the application, including due to an enforcement action by us. Accordingly, you must promptly delete all API data obtained in connection with these applications, and failure to comply may result in further enforcement against you or your account. So, as you're probably aware, there's laws like the GDPR, and there's a similar one in California, where in some cases, when people request for you to delete their data, you're required to comply with that. Both of these laws have an exception written in where you don't have to comply in cases of security, which is exactly what Row Cleaner is. It's a security bot meant to protect the safety of Discord users. The only data that we have is their Discord ID number and the servers that we found them in, which is public information to begin with. And so when they're making these requests, it's kind of like telling the sex offender registry they have to delete your data because of the GDPR, right? Because that's basically what we've done is we made a Roblox Discord sex offender registry. You know, we obviously fall in the exception, and so we haven't complied with requests to remove people's data because we don't have to. Legally, we don't have to.
Now, I don't know whether or not this would actually hold up. I've tried reading through all of the GDPR and the exclusions and the exceptions and the Californian privacy, whatever the hell I just read, but I'm not a privacy lawyer. I don't know much about this stuff. I don't want to give you an opinion that just I pulled out of my ass. I do want to point out, though, that in the tweet and what Ruben has told me is that they plan on making a new Discord bot.
This bot is not going to have any ban list attached to the bot itself. It's basically going to be an empty shell, and you can load your own ban list in. You can either create it yourself, or you can upload, you can attach a GitHub repository to your ban list. And the idea is developers who find predators or hackers or scammers in their servers can set up kind of like a universal ban list. So when you get banned from one server, you get banned from all of them. And that way we can just upload the row cleaner database to GitHub. And if people want to, they can incorporate that. But at the end of the day, we're not hosting any data directly attached to the bot itself. And we have no control over who people decide to ban with it. And so that should address both of Discord's claims of row cleaner breaking the TOS.
In my genuine opinion, and from what I've seen on Discord in the past, chances are Discord is going to ban this next bot and ban Ruben Sim's Discord account because he has evaded the developer policy and just ban evaded, and we'll see how that goes. But everything about this is going to become a complete cluster on the internet. There's going to be people saying that I hate Ruben or I hate furries. I hate every single one of you equally because you're bickering and taking away the main point of this problem. The main issue at hand here is that a YouTuber, so a normal dude that doesn't work at Discord, had to make a bot to discourage people from joining all of these Discord condo servers because Discord didn't do anything. It is as easy as a Discord employee looking through their own discovery feature and banning these servers. And instead of doing any of that, which will measurably stop kids from joining condos because the servers are no longer there, instead Discord decided to ban a random bot that was meant to try and keep kids safe from condos. And the end result of that is that imagine you're a Roblox predator or you're someone that plays condo games. Discord banning this bot basically told you that you're free to do whatever the you want on Discord when it comes to Roblox condos, and it feels like Discord is protecting the Roblox predators. And the only question I can ask is, why are these condo servers not being taken down? Is Discord keeping these servers up because it makes them money, or is it because this is some 4,000 IQ honeypot, which I completely doubt? Now, if you made it this far in the video, it means that you care about child safety in some shape or form. And if you know a kid or a teenager in your life, or maybe you are the kid or teenager, make sure that everyone knows that the internet is not a safe place. You cannot trust companies like Discord or Roblox to keep you safe. And if you're someone that is a victim to any of this stuff on the internet, never ever be ashamed to tell your parents and law enforcement, because typically when you see those predators going to jail, it always starts with some kid reporting this stuff to law enforcement. And this is a highly controversial take because this whole video has been predators bad, but if you are someone that has desires towards children, talk to a therapist. Because at the end of the day, if therapy stops you from harming a child, that will always be a good thing. And finally, believe it or not, Discord employees do watch my videos. If you have any sort of capacity to make changes, please do what you can. This is a disgusting problem that has lasted way too long. These servers have been up for multiple years and nothing has happened. At the end of the day, Discord, do your job. And with that, gamers, it's time to play Oblivion. Bye-bye, I love you. Mwah! Data leaks, extortion, and 3 dead. This is the Discord incident and how one man got Discord banned in the entire country of Turkey. Now, this whole story is an accumulation of problems that happened throughout Turkey's recent history, and pertaining to this video, the most important problem with Turkey right now is femicides. Turkey, as well as a handful of other countries, have an increasing problem with violence against women, specifically murders against women, which are known as femicides. In fact, in just August of 2024 alone, 33 women were murdered by men and 24 died under suspicious circumstances in Turkey. And the reason why this is such a big problem is because back in 2011, there was something called the Istanbul Convention. Now, the Istanbul Convention is the first legally binding instrument which creates a comprehensive legal framework and approach to combat violence against women. The Istanbul Convention is designed and focused on preventing domestic violence, protecting victims, like providing women and children with specialist support services and shelter, and finally, the last thing of the Istanbul Convention is that it's focused on prosecuting accused offenders. And the way that they prosecute accused offenders is that they make stuff like stalking and psychological violence all the way up to sexual assault and honor killing all criminalized. So when you sign the convention, you add these as legal things that you cannot do. And the thing with the Istanbul Convention is that back when it was signed in 2011, Turkey was actually the first country to sign the convention. Now, taking a look at this map, these are the countries in Europe that have done something with the Istanbul Convention. The countries in blue have signed and enforced the Istanbul Convention. The countries in purple have signed the Istanbul Convention, but they don't actually enforce the policies. And any orange or gray countries did not sign the Istanbul Convention. And you'll notice that Turkey is in red, and it's not for a good reason. Because on the 20th of March 2021, Turkey has unilaterally withdrawn from the Istanbul Convention. According to the current president of Turkey, the Istanbul Convention, which was originally intended to promote women's rights, was hijacked by a group of people attempting to normalize homosexuality. The Turkish president is saying that LGBT people are brainwashing people with the Istanbul Convention, and being part of the LGBT group is incompatible with Turkey's social and family values, which is why we decided to withdraw from protecting women as a whole, because apparently all women are gay according to Turkey. And Turkey withdrawing from the Istanbul Convention didn't make anything better, and that is the kindling that led to the incident. On October 4th, 2024, 3 people died. We have Sami Çelik, who is a 19-year-old male who worked as a butcher. We have Ayşe Nush Halil, a 19-year-old girl, and we have Iqbal Uzunaj. My pronunciations are horrible, I apologize. So on this day at around 3:30 p.m., Semi went to Ayşe Nush's home, and after entering the home, he killed her by slitting her throat. Now, shortly after the first murder, Semi met with Iqbal near the historic city walls in Fatih. Now, there are images of Semi at the top of these walls that circulate around the internet, and what happened inside of these historic walls is that Semi decapitated and dismembered Iqbal's body. And as we will later see, this is fulfilling some sort of fantasy that Semi had. But after dismembering the body, Semi called the 19-year-old Iqbal's mother, claiming that her daughter's phone had fallen from the city walls. And as Iqbal's mother arrived on scene, hoping to retrieve the phone, Semi, with the decapitated head in hand, threw the dismembered head at Iqbal's mother, and then Semi soon after followed suit by jumping from the walls himself. During the investigation of this double murder suicide, it turns out that Semi had a history of psychological issues and some disturbing drawings. It turns out when the authorities were looking into this murder, Semi had a history of psychological problems and had been hospitalized 5 times over the past year due to mental health issues. And according to a police statement from Sami's father, he said, "When I entered the room, I saw drawings that resembled satanic figures. When I asked about them, he said, 'You wouldn't understand. Our generation's ways of thinking are different.'" And while police were searching the Çelik's residence, they found a notebook containing disturbing charcoal drawings of dismembered human figures, which eerily resemble how he committed the murders. Sami Çelik even had 3 prior criminal records and worked as a butcher, including these weird drawings, and also attempted self-bye-bye before. With all of these previous treatments at mental health hospitals, this was easily preventable. And instead of doing something that would actually protect women, they banned broadcasting the story about the murder, but it caused a public outrage. And on the next day, a whole bunch of men and women protested in front of the walls, claiming that Turkey needs to do something about the increasing femicide rates. And just to give you even more perspective on the situation, during this protest, 2 other murders happened against 4 women total. 6 women got murdered by men in a span of like 2 to 3 days. It's clear this is a pretty big problem. And as tensions were rising, things got even worse, because it turns out during the investigation, it was revealed that Sami Çelik was in communication with people called Imsez on a messaging app. After the incident, the police decided to launch a major surveillance nationwide after there was a whole bunch of supportive and praising posts that were spread on the internet. But what this showed people is that there's not just one completely batshit insane dude out there. There were groups of people who were batshit insane, thinking that violence against women because they're women was completely okay. Given that Turkey withdrew themselves from the Istanbul Convention, people didn't trust the fact that Turkish police or authorities were going to do anything in terms of surveillance and trying to find these people that are being supportive and praising these femicides. It turns out people took to Twitter to share information and try to figure out the people that are behind these incel groups that are saying that it's okay to murder women. And it turns out the people that are doing this would record them doing it and stream it on Discord. They are recording themselves committing a crime, and then it would be shared on the internet. There are videos of them calling the authorities, basically swatting someone, where they intentionally get a massive police response at someone's house to either scare them or try to get them murdered by a cop. There are also videos of them directly calling victims and extorting them. There's videos of these people getting minors to get nude on camera and say things for some sort of sick, twisted sexual fantasy. They forced a minor girl to pour alcohol on their private parts and then set it on fire. And it turns out the way these people got extorted and the reason why these victims were following these orders from random dudes on the internet was because the Turkish government completely failed to protect these kids. Because it turns out back in 2016, there was an article talking how Turkish authorities are probing a huge ID data leak. Now, not much came of it until a couple years later, where Turkish citizens' data harvested from government portal are being sold on March 8th of 2024. Turkey had this kind of government portal thing where you were required as a citizen to upload information, and someone hacked into it, stole all of that data, and started selling it to people. It would be sold in a Telegram group for only 150 Turkish lira, or about 4.6 euros. And the data that you could get from buying this data breach are phone numbers, addresses, health records, bank information, business records. And the most worrying part about this is that this is not like a breach that happened. The data was being updated in real time, being actively harvested from eDevlet, which is Turkey's online government portal. And from the report, they said there was data that was shown as late as October 2023 on its homepage. And what malicious people would do is they would use this information to extort people with it. For example, with a phone number and address, these people would call individuals, tell them that they know where they live, and if you don't do what I say, I'm going to come to your house and kill you. But they'll also just say very simple stuff like, I'll call your parents and let them know what you're doing on the internet. That is enough to trick these kids into doing things like hurting themselves, or hurting others, or hurting their animals. And the worst part about this whole entire situation is that by a pretty big Turkish YouTuber, there was a video back in December 2022 talking about this data leak and how people are selling data and using it to extort people on Discord and on different social media platforms. He also showed that these people did credit card fraud, bought a whole bunch of fraudulent iPhones to resell them. These people were cyber criminals through and through and were found 2 years ago. But the problem just got worse, because there was one video that was released that got the attention of almost everyone in Turkey. Just a day after the initial 2 murders, when everyone was shocked about all this happening, there was a video released on social media of a girl saying that she was blackmailed and her identity was compromised on Discord, which is why she harmed herself. In fact, this video was posted on Instagram. I'm here struggling to live and they come and threaten me, saying things like, I'll SWAT your house or something. They say, if you don't cut yourself, I'll send everything to your family. I'm trying to live with this fear. They constantly threaten me, saying that if I don't cut myself, then they'll do this or that. And just when you thought you had everything figured out, it turns out this video is completely fake. The person was allegedly part of the community. In fact, they tried to use this video and the murder of those 2 girls, the violent murder of those 2 girls, to try and advertise their Discord server, which they would use to extort women. The people behind these groups want to be known as evil. They want infamy. But it turns out they got a little bit more attention than what they wanted. Because according to a recorded conversation in the Discord server by one of my viewers, which translated it, which by the way, I think the viewer himself is self-snitching because he's been part of the group from a year ago, but he didn't tell me that. I had to figure it out myself. Regardless, these people are just completely mentally fucked. Let me just put it out there. According to their conversation, the guy, Nico, that is talking, said, we provided a good service and had a great time together. Recently, we've become a topic for 81 million people. The reason could be because we got a few donkeys beaten up or someone to cut their arms or legs, whatever. The loyalty video blew up on Twitter, and the news broke right when we were about to start a League of Legends stream on Kick. We were about to switch to the League of Legends stream, and suddenly I saw that we were trending on Twitter and everywhere. But what's important isn't really being famous. This is how we make our money, by blackmailing people. But clearly, it bothered a few bastards, so they made us public on Twitter. It seems our work has really gotten to some people. Those who compete with us couldn't keep up. That's why we're in this situation. Like I said, no one can intimidate or stop us. Because according to a tweet by the Minister of Internal Affairs of the Republic of Turkey, I don't know why politicians have to be on Twitter, but that's just a different day rant, Ankara Police Department has determined that the person referred to as HZ Ibu Sahil from the administrators of the group named C31K, which is actively present on the Telegram and Discord social networking platforms, is a child's name EK and has been taken into custody. The person referred to as Arda Bateman has been determined to be a child named AT and has been taken